myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me, like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. Today, we are talking the Big Ten. You see the shirt, Sparty on, my boys. Let's get into it. Last year, I feel like I had a decent year in the Big Ten. I predicted the Big Ten champ, I believe. Almost predicted the Big Ten championship game. Ohio State somehow dropped it to Michigan again, 4 in a row. But hey, it is what it is. I do have a guest with me today, my boy Trent, big Penn State fan. I wasn't supposed to introduce him yet. Dang it. All right, whatever. We got my dog up here. Let me go ahead and bring us to the stage. Hold on. What's good, my boy? What's good?
What's up, Carl? How we doing, man?
Doing all right. I was supposed to introduce the shows first, but slipped up and introduce you. So you're just going to be up here while I introduce the shows.
It's okay.
Before we get into the Big Ten, I got to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We got shows like the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. They're going over teams, panels, stuff like that. They've knocked out a lot of the NFL so far. Now we're doing panels. Well, they're doing panels of people in the Refuse to Lose community and their favorite teams. They want to hear their thoughts on their favorite teams this year. Can't wait to do the Ravens. Hopefully it's after the SEC, but it's grind time either way. We got BWT baseball with Teddy. I know he's still in right now. The Red Sox have overtaken the Yankees. My Tigers are up 6-3. Dylan Dingler just hit a dinger to go up 6-3. I just got the notification on my phone. Shout out to the Tigers. I need the Blue Jays to lose today. Somebody, please. Next, we got Dave's Doghouse. You saw Dave on the ACC preview. He has a show, highlights and lowlights of sport. Again, he may come back around NFL season. He's being a pop. Shout out to him. We got RBO, Real Ballers Only. NBA, college basketball, is kind of around the corner. I can't wait for the college side of things on my podcast, but he does the NBA. So make sure y'all tune into that. We have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. Boxing, so all your boxing needs, y'all go to them. Just boxing, no exhibition. So make sure y'all tune into that. And we have Unfazed Tuesdays, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ. They do a variety of topics, mostly basketball and football. I know they can't wait to get back into football. AJ, Eagles fan, you know what I'm saying? Reigning champ. Shout out to him for that. But I believe that's all. Oh, and FFC, Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Fantasy football right around the corner. R2L is drafting for their league tomorrow. Trent, you're part of the league, ain't you?
Yep, I'll be there.
All right, cool. Yep. So he's in the draft. I'll be at the draft. I'm not drafting. I'm not in the league, but I'll be there, talking trash, just, spewing some hate, doing a little bit. But, yeah, so make sure y'all tune in to Coach. Fantasy football season is basically here. Preseason starts Thursday, so we right there. But please like, comment, share, subscribe to those channels on the network as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Trent, you got any words before we start this Big Ten preview?
No, sir. Just continue to follow, like, and subscribe. Everything Refuse to Lose has got going on. A lot of great people on the platform, great network, very informative. And like you talked about, if you have a niche or a certain sport you want to follow, the network has a lot of those shows catered to you for that. So give them a shout out, give them a check out. I've been, around the network now for a number of years. So appreciate everything you guys do and giving me the platform to speak on sports.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate the support for sure. Because like he said, man, Trent has been a supporter for going on 2-3 years now. So he was a guy that we didn't know. Like he came, supported, and we took him in. You know, we got chats, communities, and things like that. And you could be a part of that as well by becoming a member. So like I said, man, thanks for the continued support. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, man, let's get into it. Oh, I got a public service announcement, okay? Because it'd be a lot of saltiness when I think your team isn't going to do well. Bruh, please listen to the video. I had a guy tell me that I didn't do research because I didn't talk about their offensive coordinator coming from South Alabama. Bruh, I knew about that. What did I say? I didn't like your quarterback. I know that because that's our offensive coordinator had Gio Lopez. He had a runner. He ran a lot of RPOs, ran the ball. Robbie Ashford, athletic quarterback. I'm not a fan of Robbie Ashford, so I wasn't a fan of, I'm not a fan of what I think they're going to do. Like, bro, I understand you may think your team's going to be better than what I project. Somebody in the conference is going to have to be bad. And I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I'm not saying I'm 100% wrong either, bro. I mean, I appreciate all views. I appreciate all comments. And if you want to go back and forth, we can. But please, I'm not saying that I'm Mr. 100%. I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be right. But nonetheless, if you want to engage in a conversation, that's fine. But there's ways of doing it. Just had to throw that out there. And now let's start with Illinois. Illinois coming off a really good season last year. 10 wins with the bowl game. Beating South Carolina in the Cheez-It Bowl 21-17. Oh, that hurt. It stung. But we move forward. They went 9-3, 6-3 in conference. They returned 16 starters, 9 on offense, 7 on defense, which is the most in the Big Ten in terms of returners, period. They returned Luke Altmaier, which is pretty big. He's a quarterback, 211 at 347, 60.8% completion percentage, 2,717 yards, 22 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, which is huge. The number of interceptions he threw, didn't throw a ton. Now, what I will say is that Penn State game, man, that was a bad showing. But Penn State was in the elite defense, so I'll give them a little grace on that. He also had 217 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. They returned Tanner Arkin, tight end, 16 catches, 111 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This is crazy. They returned both Xavier and Miles Scott in that secondary. That is crazy. They're starting to – they might have the secondary they had like a couple years ago with Witherspoon and Sidney Brown and those guys like that. That secondary like that. I don't know if they're going to have the law firm like they did, but that secondary is looking to be really good with Scott brothers coming back. Matthew Bailey's coming back at safety. Gabe Jockus at linebackers returning, and Dylan Rosiak at linebackers returning. Now they do lose Pat Bryant at wide receiver, who had 54 catches, 984 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's gone to the Broncos. My guy, Zachary Franklin, who he had a pretty solid season last year. Didn't do what I expected coming out of UTSA. He had 55 catches for 652 yards and 4 touchdowns. And they lost Josh McCray, the running back, 117 carries, 609 yards, 5.2 a carry, 10 touchdowns. He's now at Georgia. They have the 50th overall recruiting class, 43rd in transfers. Talk to me a little bit about Illinois, Trent.
Yeah, no, you covered a lot of it. I think last year the Illinois team, led by Altmaier, was a pleasant surprise in the Big Ten. You talk about those 3 losses, 2 of them which came to Penn State and Oregon. So you're talking 2 of the top teams in the conference, and the one slip-up they had against Minnesota. But we know the nature of the Big Ten, and every game is a tough game. So I really like this Illinois team coming back into this season off of a hot season. As you mentioned, 16 returning starters. Luke Altmaier that we mentioned, Lucas, you mentioned, Scott. That defense is looking really good. And all 5 offensive line starters are coming back as well to protect Altmaier. So really a well-rounded team, a well-coached team in Brett Bielema. I think this is a team that is really destined to have another good season. I know we're going to get into their upcoming schedule here shortly, but it looks like everything that they have is obviously out there in front of them. I don't necessarily think that they are, in contention to win the Big Ten, just with the likeliness of Penn State's and Ohio State's and Oregon's. But this is, a team that could make a lot of noise and, dare I say, maybe a fringe playoff team, but we'll have to let the season kind of roll out and see how it goes. But we'll get into the schedule here. really excited for what they got going on. Belima, Altmaier, good coach quarterback duo. We talk about all the returning starters in the Big Ten, and anytime you can return a team that just went 9-3 and had a good year is a good thing for your program.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to spoil it, but you kind of got my thoughts exactly on maybe a French playoff team. But like you said, man, it's hard to be in contention for the Big Ten. Even now, throw in Indiana, who possibly could have played for the Big Ten last year under Signetti. The top three, like you said, even Michigan. I mean, they had a down year, but you can never sleep on those guys to making a Big Ten championship appearance, especially when they won 3 in a row prior to last season when Ohio State, Oregon took it over. So it's a tough battle to win the Big Ten. But I 100% agree with you saying you return a 9-win 10, including the bowl game, which is huge. They beat a really good South Carolina team. Nobody really sat out for South Carolina. It was good on good, and they made plays to win the game. So that's a huge experience for them as well. So I'm excited for them. Some transfers I want to talk about is Hudson Clement, the wide receiver from West Virginia, 51 catches, 741 yards, and 5 touchdowns. That's a nice pickup for them. A guy I feel like that can work the intermediate, the short. I want to talk about Justin Bowick, another solid receiver from Ball State, 20 catches, 383 yards, and 3 touchdowns. James Thompson Jr., a defensive lineman who in 2023 had 29 total tackles, 19 solos, 3 sacks, and 2 PBUs out of Wisconsin. And Kurt Neal, a D lineman from Wisconsin, who had half a sack, 29 total tackles, 14 solos. Last year, they were 92nd in total offense, 68th in total defense, 86th in passing, 79th in rushing, tied 64th in scoring offense, 78th in passing defense, 65th in rushing defense, and 31st in scoring defense. If you're ready, Trent, we can go over the schedule.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's get into it.
All right, cool. So their first game of the season, Western Illinois, I have as a win.
I also have that as a win.
Second game of the season at Duke. 2 really, I feel like programs that kind of mirror each other of recent play. They're at Duke. I have this as a win, though.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually one of those games I got excited about just doing the research for this. I think this is one of those games that college football fans will enjoy. I agree with your comment as far as mirroring each other. I'm actually going to give this one to Duke. I'm a Manny Diaz guy. I like what they got going on. I like what they got going on over there in the ACC. It's on the road, so I think it's going to be a testament to this Illinois team early, but I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Duke.
Yeah, see, I love everything you said, too, because I'm a Manny Diaz. I like what Manny Diaz has done in Duke, especially keeping that defensive identity. Manny Diaz being the defense coordinator. I know that's your guy. Penn State came from Penn State as a D coordinator, so I get it. But I feel like what Illinois brings back, as opposed to Duke having a new quarterback and things like that, I think that gives them the edge, even though, like you said, it is on the road. Next, we'll go to Western Michigan, where I have as a win.
I also have this as a win.
Now, start Big Ten play. I have at Indiana a loss. I'm sorry. I'm so big on Signetti.
I also have this as a loss, unfortunately. I think that's another tough game on the road to start the season. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Indiana based off of what they did last year.
Yep, and then I have them bouncing back against USC as a win.
I also have them beating USC.
All right, at Purdue, I have as a win.
I have a win as well.
Ohio State, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
Then I have them winning out at Washington, at home against Rutgers, at home against Maryland, at Wisconsin, and at home against Northwestern. All wins.
We are in agreement. I do have them dropping a game on the road against Wisconsin.
That's fine, because I was definitely thinking about that on the road. Wisconsin's a tough environment to play. Familiarity of the Big Ten, familiarity of play, to be honest. But I just think with the question mark for me at Wisconsin quarterback, which we'll talk about later, I gave the edge to Illinois. So I have Illinois going 10-2, 7-2, and the over win total of 8.5.
Yeah, and it looks like we're basically in agreement. I'm giving them one more conference loss and then adding that out of conference loss against Duke. So 3 losses overall and 2 in the conference. Okay. Or 3 losses in the conference, rather. I'm sorry, and 4 overall.
Yeah, so you have the under 8.5.
Under 8.5, yep.
Okay. I will say this. That Duke game is definitely sketchy. That one could definitely flip and be a loss. And I agree, Wisconsin could be a loss, being that it's on the road. Rutgers somehow just be winning some crazy games too. So maybe look out for that one. But I'm not mad at the under, but I'm gonna stick with my over.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, I just said about 20 seconds ago that this could be a fringe playoff team. So while I'm giving them 4 losses, the nuance of the Big Ten and the nuance of the season, they have a very favorable schedule in the sense that they got Ohio State at home, they got USC at home. So, anything can happen, but I'm excited for the Big Ten play and the Illinois team for sure. But if the ball rolls the other way and they, get one of those losses, turns into a win, you're talking about maybe a 2 or 1 loss Big Ten record. So anything is possible.
Yeah, and favorable that they don't play Penn State.
They
don't play Michigan. They don't play Oregon. So, yeah, the best team they play in the Big Ten is like Ohio State. And then after that, you would probably say the best team in the Big Ten, at least in my opinion, would be Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Which segues into Indiana. Indiana, first season under Curt Cignetti, had a historic year. First 11-win season ever. I kept telling y'all MSU fans killed me because I said I wanted Cignetti. Killed me. Look what he did at Indiana. Imagine what he would have did at Michigan State. Anyway, let's move on. Coming off of 11-2, 8-1 season, they lost in the first round of the college football playoffs. 27 bad hand right in the 17 versus Notre Dame, but that game wasn't as close as the final score indicated. Notre Dame dominated that game. I will say it was close early until I believe Jeremiah Love broke that, or was it Jadarian Price? I think it was Jeremiah Love, but it also could have been Jadarian Price. Broke that long run, backed up against their own end zone. They returned 8 starters, 4 on offense, 4 on defense, but Cignetti showed like he's good at reloading and winning games. So I'm not really scared there. Major return, they returned Elijah Surratt, receiver, 53 catches, 957 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And Omar Cooper at receiver, 28 catches, 594 yards, 7 touchdowns. One of my favorite returns was I thought he was gone until I did my research was D'Angelo Pons, cornerback. I loved him at JMU, loved him last year for Indiana. He comes back, 55 total tackles, 35 solos, 9 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown. Plus, that's my guy in college football, 26. Check me out, 43-7 online, but that's neither here nor there. And Mikael Kamara, defensive end, 47 total tackles, 19 solos, 10 sacks, pass breakup, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and Aiden Fisher, linebacker, 118 total tackles, 49 solos, a sack and a half, and 4 pass breakups, which is huge. They do lose, however, Curtis Rourke at quarterback, 222, 320, 69.4% completion percentage, 3,042 yards, 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's now on the 49ers. Cignetti and Indiana had him looking really well, probably his best season ever, even while at Ohio. Justice Ellison, running back, 159 carries, 848 yards, 5.3 carries, 10 touchdowns. He's actually a coach, I believe, on the Indiana staff. Tyson Lawton, the running back as well, 141 carries, 668 yards, 4.7 a carry, and 12 touchdowns. Miles Price, who's on the Vikings, wide receiver, 38 catches, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Carpenter on the Jags, 38 total tackles, 20 solos, 6 sacks, 2 pass breakups. And they lose Jalen Walker, linebacker, 82 total tackles, 39 solos, 2 sacks, 8 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles. They have the 39th overall recruiting class and 25th in transfers. Talk to me about Indiana, Trent.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing last year was the success with the schedule, and this season there's no escaping the weakness of schedule. So it's going to be a tough year for them. In my opinion, I love Cignetti. I'm interested to see what Mendoza does at quarterback. If I'm being honest, I didn't watch a ton of him last season, but I'm hearing good things. It's a great defense, retained, like you said, Kamara, Fisher, Pons. So it's certainly set to be one of the better defenses in the Big Ten. My concerns are going to come with the offense, it's a newer room, and just with the schedule challenges that we'll get into. I am expecting probably a little bit of a setback. However, that's easy to do when you only lost 1 game last year. So probably not as high on Indiana as some. I think maybe a little bit of regression is in order. However, excited to see what they do on defense because I am, like you said, I do like Pons and Fisher and Kamara. They were a top 10 defense in 2024. So they're, certainly tooled and reloaded to do the same thing and wreak havoc on some of these Big Ten offenses.
Yeah, so I agree in the fact that they can't escape some of the tougher opponents this season. I think offensively they'll be fine because they came in with a lot of question marks at quarterback the year prior. They lost Taven Jackson. Well, Taven Jackson actually was on the roster. I'll take that back. But why am I blanking on brother name? I think he went to Cincinnati. Brandon Sorsby. They lost him. They had terrible quarterback play prior to Cignetti coming over. He brought Curtis Rourke over, and you saw what he did with Curtis Rourke. Had a great season for them. And Mendoza, I like Mendoza. I think he's pretty good. And I think Cignetti and his offensive staff, they'll unlock him like they unlock Curtis Rourke. They pair him with a running back from Maryland, Roman Hemby. A speedster, 134 carries, 607 yards, 4.5 a carry, 6 touchdowns. Interested to see what he does this season with Indiana. I think that'll be his backfield. Jonathan Brady, which I watched him a little bit at New Mexico State, but he did come from Cal last season. 36 catches, 386 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was at New Mexico State when they played in the Conference USA Championship game with Diego Pavia when they got beat by Liberty, but it was actually a fun game to watch. Then they bring over Stephen Daly at defensive end to help Mikael Kamara on the other side. 51 total tackles, 27 solos, 4 sacks, 3 pairs breakups, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. He is glad to be gone from Kent State, where they were 0-12 last season. Last year, they were 34th in total offense, 2nd in total defense, tied 34th in passing, 63rd in rushing, 2nd in scoring offense, tied 10th in passing defense, 1st in rushing defense, and 6th in scoring defense. Man, if you're ready, let's get into the schedule of Indiana.
For sure. Let's do it.
All right. So, first game of the season, they play Old Dominion. I have that as a win.
I also have that as a win.
Second game of the season. I'm actually excited to see what this team does this year. Kennesaw State, but I have this as a win.
I also have this as an Indiana win.
All right. Then they go on to, I guess, an in-state rivalry, Indiana State, where I have this as a win.
Yeah, I don't think Larry Bird's walking through those doors, so I'm going to have to go with Indiana Hoosiers as well.
Yeah. Then we go to Illinois, which I gave as a win for Indiana.
I think, yep, we both did, yep.
First road game at Iowa. I have this as a win, though.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. It's always a tough travel at Iowa, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Indiana here as well.
Yeah, Iowa, always a great defense. Interested to see what Kamari Moulton does at running back. Interested to see if they can finally find a quarterback. But next, we have at Oregon. I have it as an L, first loss of the season.
Yep, that's going to be the first loss of the season as well for me.
Then they play my Michigan State Spartans. I have them beating us.
Yeah, I'm going to give the win to Indiana as well.
Moving on to UCLA at home, where I have them beating UCLA.
I also have them beating UCLA.
I have them on the road against Maryland as a win.
I also have them beating Maryland on the road.
On the road at Penn State, I have as a loss.
Loss at Penn State, yep.
At home against Wisconsin as a W.
I'm going to go ahead and give the slight nod to Wisconsin there.
Ooh, okay. And then on the road at Purdue, I have as a win, and that's actually a rivalry, but not in football this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, traveling to Purdue is not easy either, but I'm going to give this one to it looks like a night game as of now. But I'm still going to give this one to I'm still going to give this one to Indiana.
Hey, if it was basketball though, that's fun. But overall, I have Indiana going 10-2, 7-2, taking the over 8.5 win total for Indiana.
Looks like we just disagree on the one. We have the same record other than the Wisconsin, so I believe then I hit the under with that. So
you're still over.
No, still over. Okay, so one more loss to Wisconsin, so one more conference loss.
Yeah, so you're 9-3, 6-3.
Yep, 9-3, 6-3.
All right, we'll move on to Iowa. Iowa's an interesting team. Iowa fired Kirk Frank's son. I can't even remember his name right now, but brought in a new OC last year, and he was able to put up 40 points at times just running the ball to Caleb Johnson, which is absolutely Iowa-esque. I can't explain it other than that's just Iowa football, baby. So Caleb Johnson got drafted to the Steelers. Hate to see it, but they were coming off an 8-5, 6-3 season. They lost the Music City Bowl 27-24 to Mizzou. They returned 10 starters, 5 on offense, 5 on defense. They returned Jacob Gill at wide receiver, 35 catches, 411 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, this is not a starter, but they do return him at running back. Kamari Moulton, 84 carries, 473 yards, 5.6 a carry, 3 touchdowns. This is now his backfield. They return Aaron Graves, defensive lineman, 33 total tackles, 17 solos, 6 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and 3 forced fumbles. Xavier Wakpa, safety, 41 total tackles, 29 solos, and a pass breakup. They returned Deshaun Lee, cornerback, 42 total tackles, 28 solos, 4 pass breakups, and interception. Now, some might say this is a good loss. They lost Cade McNamara, quarterback, 104 of 172, 60.5% completion percentage, 1,017 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Caleb Johnson will be missed in Iowa. 240 carries, 1,537 yards, 6.4 carry, 21 touchdowns currently on the Steelers. Jay Higgins, which was my guy at linebacker. He was one of my favorite linebackers last season. 124 total tackles, 53 solos, a sack, 5 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Currently undrafted on the Ravens. Lost Nick Jackson, a linebacker, 91 total tackles, 46 solos, 2.5 sacks, 7 pass breakups, and an interception. Currently on your Buccaneers. And Sebastian Castro, safety, 57 total tackles, 39 solos, pass breakup, an interception, and 2 forced fumbles on the Steelers. And Yaya Black, defensive tackle, currently on the Steelers as well. They have the 35th overall recruiting class, 55th in transfers. Talk to me about Iowa, Trent, as I forgot my water bottle.
Yeah, this is you talked about it, in an Iowa team that has proven an identity on defense for a long time. It's going to be interesting to see what they do this season with such a high turnover on defense. But I do think, as you mentioned, there's some new DBs that are going to step into some immediate roles while they lost, the elite linebacker in Jay Higgins. They really have a strong defensive line foundation there still with Graves and Herkett. Schedule is a little, it's the Big Ten. So I'm not seeing any Ohio States on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not seeing any Michigans on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. So a favorable match or a favorable schedule for the Hawkeyes heading into the season, which we can get into the schedule here shortly. To your point, as long as Kirk Ferentz is there, they're going to be defensive minded. I am interested to see with the addition of Mark Gronkowski coming from South Dakota State, 2 national titles over there. To your point, is losing McNamara a blessing in disguise? We'll have to see. But we know what we're going to get with the Iowa football team. To your point, a smash mouth running the ball team on offense. Even though they lost Johnson, their running back is still going to get a lot of work. Kirk Ferentz is back in his 27th season, which makes him the longest coach tenured in the Big Ten. Return the offensive coordinator and return the defensive coordinator. So a lot of familiarity on the coaching staff, not as much as the roster. But again, favorable schedule, and interested to see what they do. I could see them win total around 7, but we can jump into the schedule here when you like.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up Mark Gronowski, because they brought over a couple quarterbacks, but I think Mark Gronowski is going to be the guy. So that's the only one I wrote down in the transfer portal, because not only can he pass the ball, he's not the best passer, but he has the ability to pass the ball, which, I mean, if you're Iowa, you don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. But he also has the legs. He brings that added option. He brings that dual threat option to Iowa, so where he can run the ball. You mix that with Kamari Moulton, which I can't remember who the quarterback was last year, who they tried to mix that in with when Cade McNamara would go out. I can't remember who it was, but they tried to mix that last year, and I think they're going to try to do that again this year, but to a higher level, because now Mark Gronowski is going to be, in my opinion, the permanent starter. So it's not just a gadget or a gimmick. He's going to be in there doing it. So it's something you continuously have to look out for.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers fan in me said Gronkowski. So before the Iowa fans start,
you said Gronowski.
Oh, I did. Okay,
You did. You got it.
all right.
But like I said, he had 10 rushing touchdowns last season with South Dakota State, 23 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions, which is not much. So that's fine. But he had 2,721 yards. Then they bring in Sam Phillips, a wide receiver from UT Chattanooga, 49 catches, 803 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jonah Pace, a D lineman from Central Michigan, which had a cool little Central Michigan campaign, 34 total tackles, 19 solos, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And Bryce Hawthorne, a D lineman from South Dakota State as well, 22 total tackles, 9 solos, 3.5 sacks. Now, some numbers. They were 117th in total offense, 20th in total defense, 129th in passing, but 24th in rushing with Caleb Johnson's numbers, 72nd in scoring offense, 42nd in passing defense, 25th in rushing defense, 11th in scoring defense. So Iowa's always going to have that defense, and they're going to run the ball. Now, if you're ready, we can talk about the schedule.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so looking over the schedule real quickly, I will say, like you said, they don't play the Michigans, they don't play Ohio State, but they do have Penn State, they do have Oregon, they do have Indiana, they do. So they do have still some nice matchups there. But we'll start with University of Albany, where I have as a W.
Yep, I'm going to give the win to Iowa here.
All right. Then on the road, in-state rivalry. I think it's called the Cyber Trophy or whatever. I don't mean or whatever in a disrespectful way before Iowa fan gets in my comments and destroys me, but I think that's what it's called. At Iowa State, I have this as an L though for Iowa.
I also have this as an L.
All right, then against UMass, I have this as a bounce back win.
Win against Massachusetts. Yep.
Then on the road, first game of the Big Ten season, I have as a win against Rutgers.
Traveling to Rutgers, I have an Iowa win as well.
All right, then back home against Indiana, I have as a loss.
And I also have this as a loss.
Then at Wisconsin, I have this as a loss.
At Wisconsin, I'm going to give this to Wisconsin.
Yes, sir. All right, then at home against Penn State, I have as a loss.
Loss at home against Penn State as well.
Bounce back win at home against Minnesota.
Yeah, this was one I had to go back and forth on, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Minnesota here.
Not mad at it. Then at home against Oregon. So 3 straight at home, but I have this as a loss.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Iowa hits a really tough part of their schedule here. So I have them having their 4th straight loss home against Oregon.
All right. And then at USC, I have as a W. I feel like that defense might give Lincoln Riley and his play calling some troubles.
Yeah, I also I'm actually going to give USC a win here. So now I'm noticing 5 straight losses, which might be a little unfortunate. So I might have to reevaluate. But traveling to USC is still
that's tough. The time zone.
It seems like a tough task for me, and I'm expecting USC to, Lincoln Riley and USC. I feel like they have to figure it out at some point.
All right, and then at home against Michigan State, I do think they lose to Michigan State. They should have beat us last year with that run game. Our offense wasn't really the greatest. I think we'll get into Michigan State, but I have this as a loss to us.
I also have this as a loss to Michigan State.
And then at Nebraska in a heated rivalry game, I have this as a loss.
I'm going to give them a win here.
I'm not mad because these games normally go either way. Like no matter how good or how bad one team is, these games are low scoring. Nebraska should have won last year. Iowa popped off, I think, a huge Caleb Johnson run, or maybe it wasn't even a pass. I know it was a Caleb Johnson game to come back and win that game, and it brouhaha, they like to say, but a fight popped off.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, my bad. Go ahead, Trent.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, on my end, I can just go ahead. I have them. I only have them winning. I believe it's that 1, 2. I only have them winning 2 games in the Big Ten this year. So I have them going on that real big long losing streak, starting with Indiana the whole way down to Michigan State. So going to be a tough year for Iowa, in my opinion.
You're not too far from me. I got them going 5-7, 3-6 in conference, taking the under 7.5 win total.
Yeah, it looks like I got them going 1, 2, 3. 3 wins, 4 wins. So 4 total wins, 2 in the Big Ten.
Hey, like I said, you're not too far from me, bro. So, hey, Iowa fans, if you want to kill us in the comments, bro,
this is the time to do it.
It is what it is. Sorry, not sorry. Next, we have the University of Maryland. So I should add Tomo in the chat that we talking about Maryland. Matter of fact, add Tomo in the chat for me. All right, Maryland coming off a 4-8, 1-8 season where Mike Locksley has said he's lost the locker room halfway through the season last year. They do bring in a new OC and Pep Hamilton. I thought that was a pretty significant hire. That's why I mentioned it. He's a guy that he's known to be like creative offensively. So maybe he's going to be what Maryland needs to bounce back, because last year was pretty bad. Their only win was against USC. Funny enough, sorry Teddy, but that was the only win in Big Ten play. They lost the Chipotle Bowl to my boys. Shout out for the Chipotle. But they returned 4 starters, 3 on offense, 1 on defense, namely Octavian Smith, a receiver who had 30 catches, 315 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and Jalen Husky, a safety who had 45 total tackles, 21 solos, a pass breakup, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Now they did lose a lot. They lost Billy Edwards, who's now at Wisconsin, a quarterback who went 273 at 420, 65% completion percentage, 2,881 yards, 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. But I think they'll be fine at quarterback. They lost Roman Hemby, like I said earlier, went to Indiana. They lost Ty Felton to The Vikings, a receiver, had 96 catches for 1,124 yards and 9 touchdowns. So that's a lot of production there. Caden Prather, receiver who went to the Bills, 56 catches, 624 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ruben Hippolyte, a linebacker that was got drafted to the Bears, 66 total tackles, 33 solos, 2 pass breakups and an interception. Dante Trader Jr., safety, currently on the Dolphins, 55 total tackles, 37 solos, 4 pass breakups and an interception. Caleb Wheatland, or linebacker, currently at Auburn, 42 total tackles, 24 solos, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. And Keelan Wyatt, currently at Indiana, D lineman, with 30 total tackles, 19 solos, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. They have the 30th overall recruiting class and the 34th overall in 34th, in transfers. Talking to me about Maryland and Trent.
Yeah, when we talked about the beginning of the show, someone's got to be bad. Unfortunately, I just think it's another kind of
adding Tomo,
context gang here. But yeah, to your point, 51 total players lost in the transfer portal, and I believe 21 players entered the transfer portal, and 30 lost to graduation. So basically a total of 50 guys not there last year. Is it a good thing? Who knows? I'm interested to see the quarterback. This is probably the first team that we've talked about in the Big Ten that may have not named their quarterback quite yet. Justin Martin and Malik Washington is,
that's what I was about to say.
Washington is a QB, a position battle, highly rated freshman. Believe
from around here.
Yeah, believe he was a 4. I don't know if he was a 5-star, but
I think he was a 4-star.
Yeah, but regardless, you got Martin coming in from UCLA, Washington, recruited. So gonna be an interesting battle there. Interested to see what they do. To your point, 1 win in the Big Ten last year, and really not a favorable Big Ten schedule this year either. So we can get into the schedule there and talk more about what they're facing. Really, the line in the secondary on defense, that's a huge addition a huge replenishment of new guys coming in, linebackers as well. It's just really a brand new team. So there's a lot of expectations, good or bad. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But I think they are maybe building in the right direction as far as some of the additions like we talked about. They brought in some NFL coaches to get on their staff, so a little bit more expertise within the coaching room. And it's just really a full-scale transition year for them. And I just don't really see a expectation or scenario where they come out and surprise people. I think it's going to be an inconsistent team for now with so much turnover, and we'll have to see maybe what year 2 looks like with either Washington at quarterback if he wins the job.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I do like the fact that they brought back a guy that played for my rival high school, Jalil Farouk. He played at Wise for anybody in the PG area. I went to Flowers, so rival, but he's back home. Didn't do much at Oklahoma, but it's not because he got hurt. He had 3 catches, 38 yards, but he got hurt and was out for the season. So that sucks, but hopefully he can rejuvenate his career back home. I'm actually rooting for the guy. I don't care about that rivalry stuff too much. I'm too old to care. But I just wanted to throw that out. Then they bring back Dante Joyner. Well, not bring back. They bring in, Dante Joyner from Arkansas State, who had 50 total tackles, 33 solos, 7 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. He is a cornerback. And they bring Jameer Glasgow at cornerback, 37 total tackles, 37 total, 33 solos, 4 pass breakups, and an interception coming from Wake Forest. So like you said, man, they're trying to replenish the secondary. Trying to go back to the Deontay Banks. I always forget who's on the other side of Deontay Banks. He was a dog too. He got drafted by the Raiders. I can't remember his name right now. But they're trying to bring that back to where they would just lock up on both sides. And it's blowing me. I can never remember his name. But they were 67 for total offense, 80th for total defense, 17th for passing, 115th in rushing, which is crazy. Tied 100th in scoring offense, 105th in passing defense, 46th in rushing defense, and 105th in scoring defense. Whenever you're ready, Trent, we can get into the schedule.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, Maryland. They start the year off against FAU. I have it as a win.
I'm going to go ahead and give him a win as well.
Northern Illinois, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
No sneaky Notre Dame game here. Next,
Yeah.
we have Towson, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Wisconsin, the start Big Ten play, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
All right, then Washington at home, I have as a win.
I have as a win as well.
Then Nebraska, I have as a loss at home.
Also agree.
At UCLA, I have as a win.
I have this as a loss.
I'm not mad. I just don't know what to expect from UCLA this season. Indiana, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At Rutgers, I have as a win, but Rutgers can win that game.
Yeah, I have them losing to Rutgers.
At Illinois, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
And then I have them losing out. I have them losing against Michigan and Michigan State, both games at. Well, Michigan's at home. Michigan State is actually a neutral site at Ford Field.
Oh, nice.
But I have them both as L's.
Yep, I'm in the same boat as you. I think we actually just might have agreed on the whole schedule.
not the whole one. You got two.
Oh, that's right. That's true. Good point.
Yeah, you got them on 4-8. I think you only have them winning one Big Ten game.
Yep, I only got the only Big Ten win I have for them this season is at home against Washington.
Yeah, I have them going 6-6, 3-6, taking it over through 4.5. See, Tomo, I'm not a hater. I got y'all making a bowl game.
I'll be the hater on this one, Tomo. My fault.
See, he even got y'all going under 4.5 wins, Tomo. That's crazy. Tell him what. You know what? I can't say that on the air. I'm not going to say it. But you know what I was about to say, Tomo. And then shout out my boy Joe being in the comments. He said shout out to PG County. And then he put the 4-8 laughing emoji. Hey, brother. I got 6-6. So hey, Tomo, don't be mad at me. But we can move on to Michigan. Michigan coming off an 8-5, 5-4 season where they won the ReliaQuest Bowl 19-13 versus Alabama. Absolutely hurt my heart that they did that. Here's why it hurt my heart, because I wanted Alabama to lose the bowl game because how their fans were reacting about, oh, we 9-3, but we SEC, we should have made the playoffs, blah, 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 until they play Michigan. Then I'm like, all right, y'all can't lose to Michigan. But they didn't sit nobody. Ryan Williams, I think, played. Jalen Milroe played. Y'all just looked bad, and y'all lost to a very inferior Michigan team. So, hurts, but whatever. They returned 13 starters, 8 on offense, 5 on defense. I know they got a new OC, but the OC to me is not really. I think Sharon Moore is still going to be calling plays and stuff like that. But whatever. You want to talk about Chip Lindsey? Go ahead, fine. They returned Ernest Hausman, linebacker, 89 total tackles, 54 solos, 2 sacks, a pass breakup, and interception. I think I only wrote returners on defense because like all they did last year was really run the ball, and Khalil Mullins is no longer there, so. I don't really think I talked about offense as much. Then they returned Jayshon Barham, linebacker, 66 total tackles, 40 solos, a sack, and 2 pass breakups. Derek Moore, defensive end with 23 total tackles, 16 solos, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Zeke Berry, a cornerback with 37 total tackles, 27 solos, 9 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. Jair Hill, a cornerback, 35 total tackles, 26 solos, a sack, 8 pass breakups, and an interception. They lost Khalil Mullins, running back, 185 carries, 948 yards, 5.1 a carry, 12 touchdowns currently on the Titans. Colston Loveland, who actually was drafted first at tight end, which is absolutely insane with Tyler Warren right there. But anyway, it's the Bears.
Crazy.
56 catches, 582 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Again, it's the Bears. Lost Mason Graham, defensive tackle on the Browns, 46 total tackles, 24 solos, 3.5 sacks, a pass breakup. Lost Will Johnson, which I'm a Michigan State fan, but I have so much respect for Will Johnson. So it is what it is. Cornerback, 14 total tackles, 12 solos, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. So both his picks were pick sixes. He did get hurt. He's currently on the Cardinals. Hurt, he's killing it. Lost Josiah Stewart, edge, currently on the Rams, 33 total tackles, 22 solos, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Kenneth Grant, a D tackle, currently on the Dolphins, 32 total tackles, 18 solos, 3 sacks, 5 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. And Makari Page, a defensive back on the Giants, 45 total tackles, 23 solos, 4 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. They currently have the 8th overall recruiting class, 31st in transfers. Lost a lot of NFL talent. Trent, talk to me about Michigan.
Yeah, looking for Michigan to bounce back a little bit. Last year, for Michigan fans, I'm sure kind of seemed like a bad dream. Otherwise, I think the rest of the Big Ten fans were thoroughly enjoying it. But to your point, they bring in a new offensive coordinator. Forget his first name,
Chip Lindsey.
Chip Lindsey, yep, from North Carolina. The offense was ranked 129th last year, so he has a lot of work to do. Defense, you mentioned, lost a lot of elite defenders. I think they're going to have some good depth there, but I have questions about the secondary. If Rod Moore comes back healthy and Metcalf, steps up, I think that could be an okay unit. But that's probably my biggest question mark as far as the defense goes. Very favorable schedule within the Big Ten, I feel like, when you look at it. But I'm definitely expecting an improvement, but I don't think they're going to get back to the national championship days, top 5 days of the world just yet. I think they have a little bit more of a rebuild to do throughout this season and could maybe bounce back next year as a contender again. But for this year, I'm thinking Michigan will be a middle of the row Big Ten team. Obviously, they bring in Underwood and the Fresno State transfer. I would have to imagine Underwood's probably going to be the starter.
Are you talking? I think they brought in what, Mikey King?
Keen from Fresno State. Yeah.
They said, "Hey, hold on now, brother. You played a good game against us. You gave us a little run for our money last year. How would you like a scholarship?"
Exactly. So Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood. Like I said, you'd have to imagine Underwood is going to get the nod.
Jacorian Bennett.
They have Justin Haynes from Alabama, new running back coming in.
Yeah.
Returning for, I think you talked about with Marshall. So a good running back duo. I think Sharon Moore, to your point, like you said, is going to continue to be smash mouth football, run the football. It'll be interesting to see what Chip Lindsey does with that offensive being ranked so bad last year. Definitely want to get Underwood involved more in the passing game and not be so one-dimensional. I think they struggled last year a lot, just really finding an identity on offense, and it showed. So Chip Lindsey has a lot of work to do, but I'm looking for a slight Michigan bounce back, but I don't know that we're returning to the glory days quite yet.
Yeah, so Jacorian Bennett was the other cornerback alongside of Deontay Banks at Maryland. That was locked up. That's why I said that. But they had an identity. The only identity they could have had was run the ball because they didn't have a quarterback. That's what they was missing. Alex Orji, Davis Warren, none of them were it. And Davis Warren is still on the roster, surprisingly, but Alex Orji left. They were not it. And I know a lot of people was hyped about Alex Orji coming into last season, and then he lost the position battle to Davis Warren. I was like, oh, yeah, he must be trash because it was so much hype around him to lose that battle to somebody I didn't even know who he was. And, of course, couldn't throw the ball, but they won 8 games, so Iowa-esque. But, yeah, you pretty much touched on the transfers, especially Justice Haynes. He was like, hey, man, I like how y'all beat us in a bowl game. How about a scholarship? And went right on over there. I got Donovan McCulley, a wide receiver transfer from Indiana in 2023, had 48 catches, 644 yards, and 6 touchdowns, hoping to help revamp that Michigan passing game that they were lacking last year. And Trey Williams, in defensive lineman from Clemson, who had 14 total tackles, 7 solos, 2 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles in 5 games at Clemson. So those are some transfers I wanted to touch on for Michigan this upcoming season, excuse me. They were 129th in total offense, 40th in total, 10th, in total defense, 130th in passing, 73rd in rushing, 113th in scoring offense, 63rd in passing defense, 5th in rushing defense, 19th in scoring defense. So again, very Iowa-esque, running the ball, playing hard-nosed defense. We got some comments, and then we'll get into the schedule. So Joe says he lost all respect for Michigan since we torched them. Joe is a Texas fan. Shout out to him. Huge first game of the season for you, by the way. Ohio State. That is crazy. But respect. I want some money off the game off my pops. Ran up $1 off him. But next we got I'm late, but Tomo's in the transfer portal. No, you are not, and you're not about to use no you know who as an excuse. Stay your butt right there, Maryland. Then Joe laughs at Tomo, and then my uncle says, "Calm down." Oh, whatever. Anyway, so my family's Michigan fans, so that's a Michigan. I'm putting this up here. I'm not repeating that. But yeah, let's get into the schedule. First game of the season, they play New Mexico, of course. Conference game. Wouldn't suspect nothing less. Win for Michigan.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and give Michigan a win there.
Next, at Oklahoma.
Tough.
I have it as an L, but it was tough. I wanted to get that game to Michigan, but I ultimately gave it to Oklahoma because Michigan's on the road.
Yeah, this is another one that tough game. It's going to be a fun game for college football fans, but I'm going to give the slight nod to Oklahoma just due to the travel arrangements.
Yeah, Bryce Underwood. To me, assuming the starter is Bryce Underwood, first real game on the road, SEC now, hostile environment. Can't really count on the guy to, and I don't expect the guy to be amazing. Now, if he is amazing, that is kudos, props. If he's not, I'm not going to kill the guy. Well, I am because I'm a Michigan State fan, but unbiased me is not going to, kill the guy if he has a bad performance. Next, we have Central Michigan. Sorry, cousin. I have this as a W for Michigan.
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and give the Wolverines a W there as well.
All right. At Nebraska, I have as a loss.
Whew. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and give Michigan the win there.
Not mad at it, but I'm kind of like super high on Nebraska this year. Wisconsin, I have as a win.
Yeah, I love Wisconsin this year, and we'll talk about it, but I still have Michigan winning this game.
At USC, I have as a win.
I have a win. I have a win as well.
USC is looking for payback. Will Johnson caught a pick six that hurt their hopes and dreams, but I do have Michigan coming out on that. Washington, I have as a win.
I also have the win.
At MSU, I'm not saying we losing to them after we should have beat them last year and we got better. Yeah, they got better. We did too. I think we win. Give them an L at Spartan Stadium.
Give them a Sparty party. All right. Yes, Carl, I'm going to go ahead and just keep the vibes high, and we'll give Michigan State a win.
Let's go. This is my guy right here. Then they go back home to Section 8 housing. They like to call it the big house. Section 8 housing. To Purdue, I have them as a win.
I also have a win.
All right, then on the road at Northwestern, I have as a win.
Yep, also a win.
On the road at Maryland and College Park, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
And then at Section 8 housing against Ohio State. If they beat Ohio State for a fifth time, Ryan Day might get fired. I have this as an L, though. It's no way. It's just like no way.
Yeah, I feel like exactly if Michigan pulls it off again, you erase all the national championships and playoff appearances that Ryan Day has, and you just flush them down the toilet. And but unfortunately, I have Ohio State winning this game.
Yeah, I literally have the winning off the strictly. It's no way they lose 5 times in a row to Michigan. It's just it's no way. So I have Michigan going 8-4, 6-3, which is a 1-game regular season improvement from last season, but it's the under 9.5 win total.
Yeah, it looks like we agreed on everything other than the Nebraska game. Yeah, so I have them beating Nebraska, which means I have them going
9-3, 7-2.
Yep, 7-2. So, yeah, definitely a little bit of a bounce back, but I just don't know that they're going to. I don't know if that they're tooled enough to beat Ohio State for a 5th straight year.
It's like no way, but it was like no way they should have lost this year, and they lost. So I don't know
exactly. But that was, that was very, as a Penn State alum and fan, that was very appreciative.
Oh, yeah, great for you. So, yeah, that got you win. They got you win.
Exactly.
Now we move on to a team that's had some tough times in the Big Ten. We had some high heights when I went to school there, but I sound like an old head talking about back in my day. We can't talk about that right now, man. It's just been bad years the past 3 years for MSU. But we're talking about the Michigan State Spartans. Hopefully, the vibes are back this season. Please. Coming off a 5-7, 3-6 season, just so close to a bowl game. We just so close. Even 2 years ago when we lost to Indiana, when we should have won that game, that was the turn point of a game that possibly could have made us go to a bowl game. We returned 9 starters, 5 on offense, 4 on defense. We returned Aiden Childs, who, if you know me, love the guy's upside. Got to fix that mental. Got to stop the silly mistakes. Man, again, I watched him try to throw a ball out of bounds, throw it away against Maryland, and it ended up being picked off. One of the craziest interceptions I've seen in my life. You just got to cut down on that elementary, middle school mistakes. But he has arm talent, and I'm giving him grace. Last year was his first season starting. I'm giving him grace. Please don't do me like Anthony Calandria did me, man. Please. So if you watch the show, you know I was a huge Anthony Calandria guy. He did me dirty. Next, we bring Nick Marsh, one of the best freshman receivers in the country. I didn't say the best. I'm not stupid. Jeremiah Smith, yes, I get that. But I said one of 41 catches, 649 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Return Jack Veland, tight end, 36 catches, 411 yards and a touchdown. Return Nakai Martinez, safety, 51 total tackles, 30 solos, 2 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Return Malik Spencer, safety, 44 total tackles, 28 solos, 2 pass breakups, an interception, and a forced fumble. And return Alex Van Sumeren, defensive lineman, 16 total tackles, 12 solos, a sack and a half. We do lose Nate Carter at running back. 116 carries, 499 yards, 4.3 a carry, 5 touchdowns. He's currently on the Falcons. I mean, our run game last year was subpar at best, probably below average actually, which I think that means the same thing. So, Monterey Foster, wide receiver, Seahawks, 46 catches, 588 yards, 3 touchdowns. We lose Jordan Turner at linebacker, who had a pretty good year for us, 66 total tackles, 36 solos, 3 sacks, pass breakup with 2 interceptions, currently on the Broncos. Cal Holiday, famous for the interception in the Peach Bowl against Pitt. 58 total tackles, 36 solos, sack, pass breakup, and a forced fumble. Chris Bogle, edge, who had 37 total tackles, 19 solos, and 4 sacks. Lost Ed Woods, a guy who I really liked last season, 49 total tackles, 39 solos, a sack, and 3 pass breakups. And Charles Brantley, currently at the Miami Hurricanes, 27 total tackles, 19 solos, 7 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and a touchdown. Cornerback. We have the 42nd overall recruiting class and 28th in transfers. Talk to me about Michigan State, Trent.
Yeah, Carl. I mean, it's a pleasure to share this show with you right now. It's a tough schedule for you guys. It really is. I think bowl season is definitely attainable. To your point, though, Aiden Chiles? I don't even know.
Aiden
Childs. So Charles is definitely, he returns for a junior. Had what I thought was a decent season last year. However, those turnover issues were really the big thing, was the 11 turnovers. So you have a good receiver room, led by Nick Marsh, and I think you have a good running game in Ty Tolliver. However, I just don't know if this defense is ready to make the leap. You guys allowed, I believe, 26 points a game last season.
That was bad. Our defense was horrendous.
I know you guys definitely attempted to address that by adding some defensive depth in the portal. Like you talked about Dunnigan and Turner both coming over. But really, I mean, quarterback is the most important position. We know that. And in a Big Ten world that has a lot of great quarterbacks, Childs, I think, is really the one who has probably the most to prove as far as just getting his team over that hump. When you miss a bowl game last year and then you come back and get the starting job, you have to get better. So I'm really expecting you guys to make a bowl game this year. I think 6 wins is very attainable. I just don't know that you guys are really going to get into the 3 loss part of the Big Ten world yet. 16 key transfers come in, but it's just not enough to, I think, based on the 5-7 season last year, the 3-6 in the Big Ten. You have a tough Big Ten schedule again this year. So I am looking forward to you guys making an impact or making an improvement. We just mentioned, I think you guys could beat Michigan, and that's going to be a very important win for a team that's going to be a fringe bowl game. I really like Jonathan Smith. I think he's, the guy, but there's just a few building blocks that have to go into it before he gets exactly what he wants out there as a product on the field.
So I agree. That's in my mic, but I agree. Aiden Childs definitely has to prove something to me again. That's why I'm treating him like Calandria. But I do like our transfer receivers coming in. Like you said, we do have a nice receiver room this season. Again, led by Nick Marsh, like you said. Defensively, I'm not expecting a huge turnaround. Like, I think that's going to take probably another year or two before we have those Oregon State defenses of the, Keaton Oladapo and Rajon Wrights, the Oregon State defense that beat Oregon with Ben Branson at quarterback. So it's going to be a minute. But I do think we're trending in hopefully the right direction. Now, I will say this, though. I think the run game is going to be a lot better, which will help Aiden Childs. I think a lot was on his shoulders last season in terms of not having really a run game. It was really spotty. At times it could be explosive. At times it was stagnant, and like I said, it left a lot on his shoulders. I think it'll be in a little bit better hands, and we have to win short down and distance situations. That's been an Achilles heel of MSU as well. The inability of just lining up and we're just better than you and winning short down and distance. That's been an Achilles heel for us for quite some time. So that has to change as well. But we talk about some transfers. Krishawn McCray from Kent State, receiver who I really liked. 40 catches, 705 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Again, Tyler Tolliver, like you said, running back from Sacramento State, 184 carries, 958 yards, 5.2 a carry, and 7 touchdowns. David Santiago, edge rusher from Air Force, salute. 37 total tackles, 22 solos, 3.5 sacks, 3 pass breaks, and a forced fumble. And Amari Kelly from Middle Tennessee State played with Elijah Metcalf and Nick Vadiato. He had 53 catches, 869 yards, and 4 touchdowns as a wide receiver. Now, some ugly numbers: 110th in total offense, 34th in total defense, 79th in passing, tied 110th in rushing, tied 123rd in scoring offense, 46th in passing defense, 32nd in rushing defense, 77th in scoring defense, which those numbers actually kind of surprised me. I'm not going to lie. But if you're ready, we can talk about the schedule.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. And then my hating uncle said rebuild will not start with U of M. Hate it or not, brother, we coming. You're going to have to come to Spartan Stadium. You're going to have to see about us. So let's go. Western Michigan. I do think we win this game, but Western Michigan gave Wisconsin a run for their money last season. I kind of expect the same thing this season against us, but I have this win.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys start the season off with a win. Just Western Michigan, like you said, probably one of the better non-group of 5 teams out there, or at least play teams tough. It's not a cakewalk on the schedule, but I still think Michigan State has the roster constructed to get the win week 1.
Yes, sir. On to Boston College. Payback from the Red Bank Dana game last season. We get the W at home.
Unfortunately, I have this one as a loss for you guys, Carl. But I think Boston College is going to be a good ACC team this year.
I do got my Boston College record in front of me. I think I got them barely making a bowl game. Nope, I got them going 4-8, 2-6. I lied.
Ooh,
yeah.
But yeah, so I have this one as a loss, unfortunately.
Yeah, not the hugest Grayson James fan. Moving on to Youngstown State, FCS. They've been playing them since I've been at MSU. So I know I just joked about Michigan having a weak non-conference. Can't really say nothing about us, but a win nonetheless.
Yep, got a win for Michigan State there.
Then on to at USC. Sorry, Teddy. I have us beating y'all.
Sorry, Carl. I have you guys losing, unfortunately.
I'm not mad at it. Lincoln Riley offense might definitely give us some problems, but we got to start Big Ten with a win. And I think the familiarity with Jonathan Smith going against the Pac-12 teams may help us in this situation. So that's why I gave us the W. Then at Nebraska, I have us losing.
I got you guys losing at Nebraska as well.
Then at home against UCLA, I have us winning.
I have you guys winning as well.
At Indiana, I have us losing.
That's a loss.
At home against Scum, I have us winning.
I got you guys winning as well.
On the road against Minnesota, I have us losing.
I have you guys losing as well.
At home against Penn State, I have us losing.
I have you guys losing as well.
On the road against Iowa, I have us winning.
I got you winning as well.
And then neutral site at Ford Field, I have us beating Maryland.
And like we talked about, I got you guys beating Maryland as well.
So I got us going 8-4, 6-3, over 5.5 wins to the glory days of a bowl game.
I got you guys going 6-6, making a bowl game, and then looks like 4 losses in conference.
Yeah, 4-5.
Yeah, or 5 losses rather. Sorry.
Look at this hater, man. You heard the same a lot of losses from me as your team, you hater.
Hey, you got the bowl game, man. You got the bowl game.
Oh, bro. I feel so disgusting as an MSU fan, just winning a bowl game again. Back in my days, old head sounding guy, but bro, this is how low I have to stoop now. Just to
I mean, hey, listen, here I am, a Penn State fan, looking at a matchup against y'all in November, thinking life's sweet. So
again, back in my day,
back in my day,
favorite.
back in my day, Michigan State late in the season was never a fun time.
Exactly. See,
I
so,
honestly think Penn State was probably 1-3 against Michigan State my 4 years in college, if I'm not mistaken. And they were all like 1 point game, like heartbreaks.
I think you went to school around the same time I did when like we played that one game in the snow and we won by like the field goal or something like that.
There was the one, yeah, I remember. Well, I know the one game, and I'm not going to remember names, but the one game was like a buzzer beater, like last touchdown.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I
then
remember that
the
too.
other game, the worst game was Penn State at Michigan State. There was like a 7-hour rain delay. I don't know if you
I
remember
don't know
that
if I
game
remember
or
that
not,
one.
but the game started at like 12 or 3:30, and then there was like a 6-hour. The game started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and ended at like midnight.
Oh, I think I remember that.
And Penn State lost.
Yeah.
It was at Michigan State, so
I think I
yeah,
remember. I think that was like my senior year. Was that
yeah.
2016?
It was probably 17 or I was in school 14 to 18, so it
I was
had to
12
be
to
like
16. Yeah.
yeah. So it was definitely Dan Antonio.
Yeah, for
And,
sure. Yeah.
but yeah, it was never a fun time.
God, man, I wish I didn't say these back in my days anymore. I always got basketball, but that's not enough. We'll move on. See, I knew I missed a team. It was Minnesota. I'm like, hold on. It makes no sense how these banners added up to the ACC. I knew I was missing somebody.
That's okay.
All right, we move on to Minnesota as I write up the banner. I just gotta find that over under win total. I didn't write it down. But PJ Fleck, Minnesota. I've been a fan of PJ Fleck. I know PJ Fleck kind of got a little dirt with him on some things. Like there was a story that came out about Fleck Bucks and stuff like that. Didn't really stick, however, because I really don't hear much about it anymore. But yeah. Oh, this is why I missed it. They don't have the Minnesota win total out.
Maybe because they don't have a starting quarterback name.
Maybe, I don't know, but they got Maryland's.
That's a good
So
point.
we will not have a win total for Minnesota because I don't see one. Yeah, interesting. There's also about to be something else interesting. Trent, you might have to fill dead time. My stomach is killing me.
You good, bro?
This might be the first on CTC, but Minnesota again, no win total because FanDuel doesn't have the odds. I might, while you talk, I might try to surf the internet, see if I can find something other than FanDuel. But yeah, Minnesota coming off an 8-5, 4-4 season where they did win the Duke Mayo Bowl against Virginia Tech 24-10. In that bowl game, do you really win? Because if you win, they dump mayonnaise over your head coach's head. So do you really win at the end of the day? I don't know. But they returned 10 starters, 5 on offense, 5 on defense, namely Darius Taylor, phenomenal running back, 205 carries, 986 yards, 4.8 a carry, and 10 touchdowns, 54 receptions, 350 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jamison Gears, a tight end, 28 catches, 290 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He returns Maverick Barnowski, linebacker, 65 total tackles, 21 solos, a sack, and 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Return Kerry Brown, safety, 63 total tackles, 34 solos, 4 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. Return Devin Eastern, defensive lineman, 27 total tackles, 13 solos, 2 sacks, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble. They lose Max Brosmer, a quarterback who's now currently on the Vikings, 268 of 403, 66.5 completion percentage, 2,828 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Daniel Jackson, wide receiver for currently the Texans, 75 catches, 863 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Elijah Spencer, receiver, 52 catches, 684 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Cody Lindenberg, linebacker, currently on the Raiders, 94 total tackles, 45 solos, a sack, 6 pass breakups, and an interception. Justin Whaley, cornerback, 42 total tackles, 25 solos, a sack, 10 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown for the Colts. Ethan Robinson, the defensive back, 42 total tackles, 29 solos, 9 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, currently on the Dolphins. Jack Henderson, the defensive back, and Danny Strigal at edge. Danny is currently on the Jags. Jack Henderson currently on the Panthers. 43rd overall recruiting class, 29th in transfers. Talk to me about Minnesota, Trent.
Yeah, this is a interesting team. They have a very, very tough Big Ten schedule. I think it's a team. Shout out Joe. I think it's a team that starts hot and then maybe cools off as the year goes. But you mentioned some of the incoming transfers. Drake Lindsey is going to come in as the early quarterback favorite in a competition with Zach Pyron. You mentioned Darius Taylor coming back, Javon Tracy coming in, Logan Loya from UCLA, Malachi Coleman from Nebraska. So a lot of these offensive guys are going to come in and make some noise, hopefully, because truthfully, I think Minnesota has a great defense, and they're returning a lot of what was a dominant unit last year.
They did lose their DC.
Say that again.
They lost their defensive coordinator. He went to Miami.
They lost their DC. However, they
Again.
again. However, they are returning Coy Parrish, All-American defensive corner. Or is he a safety?
I think he's a safety and a receiver, bro. I like playing both sides of the ball.
So Coy Parrish, All-American safety. And then I got to shout out local guy here, Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, Anthony Smith on the defensive line, along with Jordan Logan Redding and Devin Eastern. So I think, and they have Maverick Brandowski, who's coming back for another year. So this is a defense that returns almost everyone other than their coordinator, but a dominant defensive unit. The question marks really are going to be on offense once they get the quarterback situation figured out. Can he be an effective passer, or do we see them slump back into a run-first offense? I think they have a great defense. I think Coy could be a first-round draft pick. I think Anthony could be a late first round, early second round. But I still think just due to the strength of schedule within the Big Ten, they are still going to probably be a 7-8 win team. But I do have them making a bowl game, and they are definitely one of my teams that I'm going to watch a little more this year, just because I'm interested to see what they do on defense. I think they have a great defense. They went 8-5 last year, to your point, 5-4 in the Big Ten. So I just want to see if they can improve on that at all.
Yeah, I love everything you said about Minnesota, because when I think of Minnesota, I think defense. I don't ever think I remember a year where I looked at Minnesota and was like, dang, that's a really good team offensively. But defensively, I'm always going like they're always top tier defensively. They're always going to be. They're like Iowa-esque, Wisconsin-esque. Really good defense, really good running back. So it's ground and pound. Big Ten is kind of like a black and blue football division. Conference besides like your Ohio States. Now Oregon's, but it was really like your Ohio State's, who was like really slinging the ball around. But I like the fact that you touched on Javon Tracy from Miami of Ohio. Really good receiver, could stretch the defense, and Logan Lawyer trying to revamp that passing game. I like Zach Pyron. He can use his legs. He did a pretty solid job stepping in for Haynes King when Haynes King got hurt last season. And that's why I think he's going to win the starting job at Minnesota. I think they're going to roll out Zach Pyron to start the year. And he's also a dual threat guy, so he can run some option possibly with Darius Taylor. I know Minnesota lost their defensive coordinator yet again, but I mean, it's the third year in a row they were one and done in D coordinator, so I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine there. Like you said, their questions is always offensively, and it's really, can they pass the ball? Max Brosmer, can he really pass the ball? Ethan Kelly-Akmanis, can he really pass the ball? Now it's on to Zach Pyron. Can they get a passing game going at Minnesota? That has always been the Achilles heel of Minnesota. I think Pyron is going to do a decent job. I don't think he's going to fully answer that question, but I think he's going to do a decent job there at Minnesota. But I still think he's not going to be what Minnesota fans are looking for in a quarterback at Minnesota. Last season, they were 107th in total offense, 5th in total defense, 76th in passing, 109th in rushing, 80th in scoring offense, tied 10th passing defense, 12th rushing defense, and 9th scoring defense. Again, really elite defensively. And they bring in another linebacker, Jeff Robertson from Oklahoma State. If you're ready, though, we can talk about the schedule, and then you might have to feel some dinner.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, schedule. So, first game against Buffalo, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Northwestern State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Cal, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
First Big Ten game at home against Rutgers, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Ohio State, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At home against Purdue, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Nebraska, I have as a loss.
I have as a win.
Tell you, I'm high on Nebraska. Where you're going to think I'm crazy. They're next too. At Iowa, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At home against Michigan State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
On the road against Oregon, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
And then I have them winning the last 2 games at Northwestern and at home against Wisconsin.
I'm going to have them beating Northwestern and losing to Wisconsin.
I feel like my Nebraska is your Wisconsin, and I'm probably going to look at you the same way you're going to look at me in Nebraska. But I have Minnesota going 8-4, 5-4, taking the over 6.5 wins.
Yeah, it looks like we disagree on the Wisconsin game and what other game do we disagree? I think we disagreed on
Nebraska.
Yeah. So
I have them losing.
Yep.
So I think we got the same record, just 2 games flipped.
Yep. So the over and wins, and then it would be the 2 big conference losses to Michigan or Oregon and Ohio State.
All right, CTC fans, I have to take a quick commercial break. So we're going to run the intro. Hopefully I can loop it. If not, Trent, please do me a favor and fill dead air.
We got you.
Okay. Or maybe I can't. Oh, wait, hold on.
Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we live in different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it. Yo, my name is Lambo Anlo.
This is Dimitri.
This is Ed Hahn.
My name is Daryl Julian, and this is
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to Lose Sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we live in different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Yo, my name is Lambo Anlo.
This is Dimitri.
This is Ed Hahn.
My name is Daryl Julian, and this is
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to Lose Sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we live in different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time.
All right, I'm back. I got it to loop. Shout out my boy Joe came in production just in case to help me. Appreciate you, my guy. We're going to now move on, Trent, to Nebraska. To now where you can give me a crazy look, because I know I'm gonna get. I know what I got. I know I might be a little crazy. It is what it is. So Nebraska coming off of a 7-6, 3-6 season, where to be honest, first half of the games they looked incredible. Second half, at best. And namely Illinois game, even the Colorado game, dominant first half. Second half, They won the game in dominant fashion, but the second half, Colorado defensively actually was really getting stops. Offense couldn't move the ball from Nebraska. Like I said, I talked about the Illinois game. Even the bowl game against Boston College, second half, Boston College almost came back and won that game. So definitely a tale of two halves for Nebraska, looking to change that with the new OC and Dana Holgorsen. Looking to unlock Dylan Raiola, the fabulous quarterback, now going into a sophomore season. Kind of the reason why I'm high on Nebraska as well. They returned 9 starters, 5 on offense, 4 on defense. Return Dylan Raiola, like I said, quarterback 275 of 410, 67.1% completion percentage, 2,819 yards and 13 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those came in the second half. Shout out Joe. He told me that a commercial. I seen it. It said 2K23 though, so I just ran the intro. But appreciate you, my guy. And then he said, "Young Mahomes." Yeah, a lot of people criticizing him for wanting to be like Mahomes, and I'm just like, bro, everybody say he's the best quarterback in the league. Why would you not want to be like the best guy in the profession that you want to be in? Like a lot of y'all talk. I'm gonna get onto a side tangent. Just know I disagree. They bring back Emmett Johnson, who's getting a lot of hype this year at running back. Even I think he said Amir Abdullah told him to go break his record. So 117 carries, 598 yards, 5.1 a carry, and a touchdown. They bring back Deshaun Singleton at safety, 71 total tackles, 45 solos, 3 pass breakups, an interception, and a forced fumble recovery, Malcolm Hartzig at safety, 45 total tackles, 33 solos, 4 pass breakups, and 4 interceptions. Marquise Buford at cornerback, 35 total tackles, 20 solos, 5 pass breakups, and interception. And Sayir Wright, cornerback, 39 total tackles, 30 solos, a sack, 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and a forced fumble. Now they do lose Dante Dowdle. He went to Kentucky. 143 carries, 614 yards, 4.3 a carry, and 12 touchdowns. Jamal Banks currently on the Ravens, a wide receiver, 44 catches, 587 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Nair currently on the 49ers, 34 catches, 455 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And Thomas Fadone, tight end, currently on the Giants with 36 catches and 373 yards. They lost Isaac Gifford at safety, currently on the Panthers. Ty Robinson currently on the Eagles, a D tackle, at 7 sacks last season. John Bullock, linebacker, currently on your Buccaneers, who had 5 pass breakups, an interception, a touchdown, and 2 forced fumbles. And Micah Gebayer, currently on North Carolina, who had 49 total tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. 20th overall recruiting class, 13th in transfers. Talk to me about Nebraska, Trent.
Man, it's I feel like with Nebraska every year, it's just a little bit of cautious optimism. For a number of years now, dating back to Scott Frost and now Matt Rule, we've been told that this Nebraska team is supposed to come back to the national spotlight, which it's definitely on its way. However, you're still looking at a team that went 7-6 last season and 3-6 in the Big Ten. So I do like everything they're doing. I think another year, I like Matt Rule. I like Dana Holgorsen. And I believe in Dylan Raiola. I think he is a special player. But it's just when you watch Nebraska, they just find these weird ways to lose. And with the schedule they have in front of them, I don't know that they can get to that 10-win threshold that they might be competing for. Your point, they brought in Dane Key from Kentucky, another great wide receiver, and Isaiah Hunter from California, another great wide receiver. You talked about Emmett Johnson. They brought in some great offensive linemen from Notre Dame, Rocco Spindler, and a 5-star recruit in Elijah Pritchett. They also only had 8 players leave in the transfer portal, so I think that's pretty big in the sense of what a testament that is. Matt Rule and his ability to retain the talent within the conference and within the realm of college football that we live in now. However, like I said, just based on the schedule and a new offensive coordinator, you're losing your sack leader in Ty Robinson. You're bringing in a new defensive coordinator. I just am not thrilled about all the turnover happening when a program is really in need of some stability to build what they want. So I have Nebraska kind of as a middle row Big Ten team, but it certainly wouldn't shock me if they turn things around and surprise some people like you're projecting.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. They're going to look at me so crazy at the end of this. But I do disagree with the schedule thing, I'm looking at their schedule and what it could be. I think this is very favorable for Nebraska. And I will say this. I believe Matt Rule is a program changer in college. I look at what he did at Baylor. I look at what he did at Temple. And I look at him bringing Nebraska to their first ever bowl game in years. A lot of people said Scott Frost was a fraud. A lot of people thought Scott Frost was just a one-year wonder. At least this is what I was hearing when I was watching my Cover 3 podcast days, but that was like years ago. Some people didn't think this was going to work for Scott Frost at Nebraska, and it didn't. It was actually a failure. So I don't really count, huh?
They won the Pinstripe Bowl last year, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay.
They tried to blow it. Second half, they tried to blow it, but they won it. But yeah, Scott Frost's experiment was a huge failure. But Matt Rule in year 2, like I said, brought him to their first bowl game in years, 7 wins, won a bowl game. So they're trending in the right direction. Again, like you said, though, that 3-6 Big Ten record was bad. But I just see a tale of two halves in the team. And hopefully if they can just be consistent, lead the first half Nebraska team, it will be a lot of trouble for teams if they play against this season. I love the fact that you touched on Dan Key and Isaiah Hunter, 2 good wide receivers to replace Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair. But I'd like to touch on Marquise Watson-Trent, a linebacker coming from Georgia Southern, who had 100 in total tackles, 52 solos, a sack and a half, a pass breakup, and 4 forced fumbles, looking to man that middle at Nebraska. Nebraska last year had 94th in total offense, 18th in total defense, 65th in passing, 96th in rushing, which Emmett Johnson is now taking over that backfield, so look out for that. 103rd in scoring offense, 65th in passing defense, 8th in rushing defense, and 17th in scoring defense. So a solid defense for Nebraska as always. But let's get into the schedule so you can see why you're going to look at me crazy. First game against Cincy at Arrowhead in Kansas City. I have it as a win.
I also have as a win.
Then at home against Akron, a win.
I also have as a win.
Then Houston Christian, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At home against Michigan, I have as a win.
I have as a loss.
At home against Michigan State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
On the road against Maryland, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
On the road against Minnesota, I have as a win.
I have as a loss.
At home against Northwestern, I have as a win.
I have as a win.
At home against USC, I have as a win.
I have as a loss.
On the road against UCLA, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
On the road against Penn State, I have as a loss. I was trying to troll. I have a loss.
I was gonna say, don't even start. I also have as a loss for them as well.
But I have them winning at home against Iowa, going 11-1, 8-1. I'm sorry, call me crazy.
It's definitely going to be one of those clips we clip and put in the chat for years to come. He's either going to look like the smartest guy I know, or we're going to just be saying "I told you so" for year number 5 in a row. It's kind of like we talked about fantasy football tomorrow. It's kind of like buying stock in Nebraska is like drafting Kyle Pitts. It's like you want to believe it's going to be good, but then it happens, and you're just like,
It looked good. It looked good. I'm telling you, Dana Holgorsen, Matt Rule's a program changer. Dylan Raiola coming into his second season. Hopefully, cut down on the interceptions. You hope Nebraska can stay consistent. They got a good defense. It looked good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have them losing 1, 2, 3, 4. I have them as a 4-loss team. So, I mean, they're definitely, I think, going to improve as what they did last year. I think we flipped on 2 of those matchups in the Big Ten, which is really what it comes down to as far as our schedule predictions go. So we talk about the nuance of the Big Ten all the time, and those games going to Minnesota or home against Iowa, those are really the coin flips in this scenario.
Iowa for sure. Just like I said, no matter what in that game, it's just always crazy.
Yeah. It's again, I agree. I like Matt Rule, Pennsylvania guy. I like Dana Holgorsen. They got the new defensive coordinator coming in, who's going to turn some things up. I think they're going to be switching over to a 3-3-5 on defense.
Oh Lord, glad Ace not here.
Yeah, so it's yeah, I mean, the writing's on the wall for them. Can they be great? Absolutely. But I'm just the proof has been in the pudding for me for the last few years. So until I'm persuaded the other way, I got to go with.
I ain't mad. If anybody call me crazy for this prediction, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, no, you tripping, bro. I feel you. I do. But I'm stepping out on the ledge this time. I like to do that sometimes. And here's my ledge. MSU at 8-4, Nebraska at 11-1. Those are my ledges right now. So
I like it.
let's go. Yeah, so we'll move on to Northwestern. Oh, by the way, we both have the over 7.5 win total for Nebraska. I did not say that. But we move on to Northwestern. Northwestern, look at that over under. Holy. 3.5. Coming off a 4-8 season, 2-7 in Big Ten play after a great season year prior with Ben Bryant. Returned 10 starters, 4 on offense, 6 on defense. Returned Cam Porter, the running back, who's probably going to be their best player. 126 carries, 501 yards, 4 a carry, and 6 touchdowns. Mac Ulen, linebacker, 84 total tackles, 49 solos, 2 sacks, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. Aiden Hubbard, defensive end, 33 total tackles, 12 solos, 6 sacks, pass breakup, fumble recovery, and a fumble. Well, scoop and score touchdown. Najee Story at the end, 24 total tackles, 12 solos, a sack and a half, and Josh Fussell, cornerback, 35 total tackles, 30 solos, and 5 pass breakups. They did lose A.J. Henning, a wide receiver, to the Dolphins, 59 catches, 603 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Bryce Kurtz, a wide receiver, 39 catches, 598 yards. Xander Mueller, linebacker, 57 total tackles, 30 solos, a sack, 4 pass breakups, interception, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Deron Johnson to Oregon, 53 total tackles, 40 solos, 10 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6. Devin Turner to Baylor, a safety, 51 total tackles, 33 solos, 3 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and a pick 6. They had the 71st overall recruiting class, 69th in transfers. Talk to me about Northwestern, Trent.
Yeah, 4-8 last season, 2-7 in the Big Ten. Another brutal schedule ahead, in my opinion. I think they can maybe have some modest improvement. They're bringing in the quarterback, Preston Stone from SMU, close to 3,000 yards or just over 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns.
In 2023.
Yeah, in 2023. Sorry, yep, 2023. So that's really the big thing. I mean, we talk about the importance of quarterback, but Northwestern was abysmal in passing last season, 111th nationally in passing. So with the addition of quarterback, Cam Porter returning at running back, he was solid last year. And then they have wide receiver depth as well. So I think the offense is maybe not going to be lights out, but they are set for a modest improvement with the play of Stone. Defense, like you mentioned, Hubbard and Sacco on the pass rush, I think is a good 2 edge rushers and a good way to get to the quarterback. Really, the big thing, though, for me is going to be how they defend the pass. The secondary is suffering big losses. Both of their turnover leaders are gone. So they did retool in the transfer portal, but I just don't see this Northwestern team really improving much on last year unless Preston Stone comes in and makes a really big impact on the offense. Like I said, the defensive front 7 might be able to keep them in games, but the secondary is what I look to as the biggest issue. I think they're just going to have a hard time stopping other teams, especially in the pass game. So I like Coach Braun. Believe it's year 2 for him, year 3 for him.
I think technically year 2. I think technically last year was his first year because when Fitzgerald got outed, I think he was the interim that entire season, and then they made him the head coach, I think. That's what I want to say.
Makes sense. But yeah, so I got you. But yeah, so I just think the big thing for them is going to be throwing the ball and stopping the pass. I think they're good internally on the front 7 and in the run game on offense. I can't mention Preston Stone enough. He's going to have to be the one who kind of gets this offense over the hump. But realistically, I think you're probably looking at another 4 to maybe 5, 6. A bowl game would be the goal.
Hold on now. Hold on. Don't spoil now. Don't spoil.
Go ahead.
So can't agree with you more. So Preston Stone to me is the biggest. No, actually, I'll take that back. Preston Stone isn't the biggest question mark. He is a question mark to me, however, because I don't know if you watched the beginning of SMU last season. They kind of did him and Kevin Jennings kind of dirty to start, and they almost cost him that game against Nevada. But they would go Stone 2 series, and then Kevin Jennings 2 series, and then they would ride the high hand. Which as a quarterback, you need your rhythm, so that's not really it's not really like efficient for me to like get into it. But ultimately, they sat Preston Stone because of the BYU game. It was just bad. The BYU game was super bad for Preston Stone. And they handed Kevin Jennings the keys, and they never looked back. I mean, it led them to an ACC championship appearance and a playoff berth. So can't really be too mad at Red Lashley. But I do think that Preston Stone did get the short end of the stick there. But he took it like a great team player. He didn't cause any trouble. He still rooted for Kevin Jennings, helped him, and then just hit the transfer portal as he should have at the end of the year. So kudos to him for how he handled that situation. Now I'm interested to see because he did have a really good 2023, like you said, led SMU to championship, the American Athletic Championship, where they beat Tulane in that game. But I don't think Preston Stone played. I think Jennings or somebody else played in that championship game. I can't remember. I think Stone got hurt. I think both team starters got hurt, and they both play like backups. But yeah. So I am interested to see what he does. I think the biggest question mark on offense for me of Northwestern is receivers. Can they get a separation against Big Ten defenses? Especially they don't really have too many names at receiver. So that's going to be interesting. And defensively, like you said, they lost Theron Johnson and they lost Devin Turner. So the secondary to me is also a question mark for Northwestern. They did bring in my guy. This one hurt. Dylan Tatum from Michigan State. That one hurt, but he was a safety who got hurt last season, but he had 45 total tackles, 30 solos, 7 pass breakups in 2023. He got hurt like instantly last year. And they do bring in Yanni Karloftis, who had 57 total tackles, 33 solos, half a sack, and a pass breakup, a linebacker from Purdue. So that's big there. And like you said, the pass rush of Aiden Hubbard, Thomas Soka, and Najee Story, that'll be huge as well. That'll help your secondary out a little bit. But overall, not good numbers for Northwestern. 130th in total offense, 56th in total defense, 111th in passing, 122nd in rushing, 128th in scoring offense, 89th in passing defense, 37th in rushing defense, and 81st in scoring defense. If you're ready, we can get into the schedule.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, shout out to David Burns. He's not in the comments right now, but he did comment in one of my, I think my group of 5 coaching carousel. He was like, Northwestern got a easy win week 1. Week 1 is at Tulane. I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
Yeah, I told him like, hold on now, bro. John Summerall and Tulane, not sweet. John Summerall is a really good head coach. Won back-to-back Sun Belt titles at Troy. Took Tulane to an American Athletic Conference championship game last season against Army. Army was just too much. And I can see Tulane coming in, having a really good game plan, really good defense. Offensively, they do have some question marks at quarterback with Darian Mensah leaving the Duke. But I feel like he'll figure it out, just like he found Darian Mensah. Darian Mensah wasn't a highly talked about guy when Summerall found him and started him. It was Ty Thompson, who he beat out. So I think they'll find a quarterback. They'll have something there. I have Tulane winning that game.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I think Tulane has always been. I mean, they've been proven as a very
Power 4.
Yeah,
I say Power 4 because I'm not counting the Pac-12 until next year.
That's fair. But yeah, they've proven themselves year in and year out as a good team, and I think with Northwestern probably ending up at near the bottom of the Big Ten, it's a good win for Tulane, especially at home to start the season.
Yep. Then next is at home against Western Illinois. I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Then they start off Big Ten play with at home against Oregon L.
Yep, I also have as a loss.
Then at home against UCLA, I have as a win actually.
Yeah, I don't know too much about UCLA this year, but we'll get into them later. I'm still going to give this one to UCLA. I just don't think Northwestern is poised to beat them quite yet.
Oh no! Next, at home against UL Monroe, I have as a win. Northwestern gets a 2-game win streak with me.
I also have as a win.
Then on the road at Penn State, L.
I also have as a loss.
What? And my final win at home against Purdue.
I have that as a loss.
Ooh, I got Northwestern losing out from Nebraska down.
I agree.
So I have Northwestern going 4-8, 2-7. The hook gets me the over 3.5 win totals.
Yeah, it looks like I got the win against Western Illinois, the win against UL Monroe. So I have 2 wins, none in the Big Ten. So it's going to be a bad year for
2-10, 0-9.
Yeah, not too high on the Wildcats this year, unfortunately.
David, if you're in the chat, if you're in the comments, if you're listening, hey, his name is Trent. But he's a
Yep.
Penn State fan. There's nothing really you can say. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got to go 4-8, 2-7. So getting the win, the over by hook. But I'm not betting it. But that's what I got though. And we can move on to Ohio State.
Holy.
I'm not finishing that. But Ohio State, they did lose Jim Knowles. Again, screw you for that. But they do pick up Matt Patricia, defensive coordinator now with Ohio State. They did lose Chip Kelly. They upgraded or promoted, I should say, Brian Hartline, which again, me and A said in the ACC show, what a valuable piece to have Brian Hartline. Because if Brian Hartline was anybody else, he might be going somewhere else to try to get like a head coaching job or something like that. And he could bring those receivers right along with him. But I don't think he has any plans of leaving Ohio State like at all, unless like he's like head coaching and waiting. I think he's kind of waiting out that maybe. But I mean, he went to school, played college ball at Ohio State. He loves Ohio State through and through. I think he just wants to be at Ohio State. And that's just great for them to have that. But they were coming off a 14-2, 7-2 season where they won the national championship 34-23 against Notre Dame, but they didn't even play for the Big Ten championship game, and it's your fault that they lost to Michigan, which is weird in itself. But anyway, they returned 9 starters, 6 on offense, 3 on defense. Return, obviously, I'm going to just say it, the best receiver in the country, Jeremiah Smith. Wide receiver who had 76 catches for 1,315 yards and 15 touchdowns as a freshman. Cardell Tate, 52 catches for 733 yards and 4 touchdowns. Sonny Styles, a linebacker with 100 total tackles, 49 solos, 6 sacks, 5 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Caleb Downs, which is people might call me, I don't know. Nah.
You can say it if you want.
To me, it's a toss-up between the best 2 safeties in the country. Him and Dylan Thiemann. A lot of people don't really know about Dylan Thiemann because he was hidden in Purdue, but bro, I like that. But I might give it to Caleb Downs. Maybe the slight edge. But safety, junior year, 81 total tackles, 48 solos, half a sack, 6 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. And Davidson Igbinosun, the cornerback, who had 45 total tackles, 30 solos, 9 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. They do lose Will Howard, plays for the Steelers now, who had 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,010 yards, 226 rushing yards, and 7 rushing touchdowns. Quinshawn Judkins, who had 1,060 yards and 14 touchdowns. Travion Henderson, who threw another 10 rushing touchdowns on top of 1,016 yards on top of that, currently on the Patriots. Emeka Ibuka, who had 10 touchdowns and 1,011 yards on top of what Jeremiah Smith did, currently on your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Heard he's killing it, by the way. Cody Simon on the Cardinals now, who had 7 sacks, 7 pass breakups, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble, and 112 tackles. Lathan Ransom, who had 75 total tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 pass breakups, a pick, and a scoop and score touchdown, currently on the Panthers. JT Tuamoa, edge, who had 61 total tackles, 35 solos, 12 and a half sacks, currently on the Colts. Jack Sawyer, Steelers, currently with 9 sacks, 6 pass breakups, a key forced fumble, against Texas, who ran it back for 6. But he had 3 of them. Denzel Burke, a quarterback who had 2 pass breakups, 2 picks, currently on the Cardinals. And Tyleek Williams, who had 3.5 sacks, Lions D tackle now currently. They had the 5th overall recruiting class, 24th in transfers. Talk to me about Ohio State, Trent.
Yeah, the big concern is in any college football is the turnover in coordinators and positional. But I think in the culture we live in today, it's very normal. To your point with Hartline being there, it's almost a picture perfect fit. A guy who wants to be there and a guy who's already been around the offense as the wide receiver pass game coordinator for a number of years. I'll go ahead and say it. I think they possess the best player in the country on offense and defense.
Not even mad at you, bro. Not even mad at you.
In Smith and Downs. So really, it's just the retooling of what they have. You mentioned all the key additions. Right now, as far as I still know, they are in a quarterback position battle.
Yeah. It's Julian Saban and somebody else. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Sayan and Kenol, or what's it? It's like Lincoln.
It's like Kenny something, right? Oh,
Lincoln Kenholes.
yeah.
But I think Sayan may end up getting winning the job. It's obviously defending national champs. They've been there before. And the good news is, not to tease the schedule that we're going to get into, but we're going to find out right away what this Ohio State team is made of. So within the Big Ten, obviously they have to play the Penn States and the Michigans of the world. They get
God, we don't play them. Thank God.
They get Penn State at home and Michigan on the road. So obviously, with the way the years have gone in the past, that last game at Michigan will probably linger and potentially haunt them. Could be a potential. Are they going to make the playoff or the Big Ten championship in that game there? But yeah, great defense. Even though Jim Knowles is gone, Matt Patricia, clearly a defensive-minded guy who has been around the block both in college and the NFL. They're the defending national champs for a reason. So I'm looking forward to a great season from them. As far as, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it, but it's probably what's going to happen. A Big Ten schedule that I think they will dominate until they have to run into the Penn States and the Michigans of the world. And then clearly that first game against Texas that we'll talk about is going to be a big one. But they have all the talent. They're clearly Ohio State for a reason. And I could see them absolutely winning the Big Ten, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, man. So to piggyback off you, great school at reloading. Pretty much. I mean, the Chip Kelly release or whatever is to me. Like, yeah, he for sure was a big piece in that offense. He helped Will Howard a lot, but I do think they'll be fine at OC with Brian Hartline, who was there under Chip Kelly. Probably learned some things under Chip Kelly, so they'll be fine now. He can't obviously duplicate what Chip Kelly does, but I think they'll be fine. I do think there's a downgrade, in my opinion, from Knowles to Patricia, and which might sound crazy, but collegiately, I think that's a downgrade. Now, if you go from Knowles to Patricia in the NFL, I think that's an upgrade, but collegiately, Jim Knowles is the best defensive coordinator, in my opinion, in college football. So I think that's a downgrade there. Shout out my brother. He is an Ohio State fan. They did win the Natty. Just need y'all to beat Michigan, bro. Like, please. I'm tired of them. But, yeah, then they bring in guys like C.J. Donaldson from West Virginia, phenomenal running back. He had a great freshman year at West Virginia. They bring in guys like Max Clare, one of the few productive players for Purdue at tight end with 685 yards and 4 touchdowns. And so they bring in just so much talent. Then, the talent they already have, adding to that. So I'm interested to see what Ohio State looks like. They last year were 30th in total offense, first in total defense, 29th in passing, 58th in rushing, 14th in scoring offense, 3rd in passing defense, 3rd in rushing defense, and 1st in scoring defense. So defense winning championships, obviously under Jim Knowles. So I can't say enough about Jim Knowles. But if you're ready, we can get into the schedule.
Let's do it.
First game, like you said, don't call me, don't text me, don't do nothing. I will be watching this game. Texas versus Ohio State. I have as a win for Texas.
I also have as a win for Texas.
I think go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it'll be interesting to see what Ryan Day does with such a big game week 1 and then potentially having a position battle at quarterback throughout camp. Because if you don't have your guy ready to go for week 1, that's going to pose a problem when you have Arch Manning on the other side waiting.
My thoughts exactly. Next, at home against Grambling, a win.
Yes, that is a win.
At home against Ohio University, Battle of Ohio, a win.
Also a win.
Tim Alvin is out that door. At Washington, a win.
That is going to be a win. Yep.
Minnesota, a win.
I have as a win as well.
At Illinois, oh shoot, I forgot to write it, but a win.
A win as well. Yep.
At Wisconsin, a win.
A win as well.
At home against Penn State, a loss.
I also have a loss. Thank you, Carl.
I've seen it before. The year y'all got screwed and didn't make the playoffs. At Purdue, a win.
At Purdue, also a win.
At home against UCLA. Oh, win. Well, I got them winning out.
Yeah, I have them winning out as well. Obviously, that last game of the year at Michigan is going to be a huge game, but as we talked about, I just don't see the five in a row happening. Yeah,
That's crazy. So I got Ohio State. Oh, I got Ohio State going 10-2, 8-1, taking the under 10.5 win total.
Yep. It looks like we're in agreement. Losses to Texas and Penn State, so one loss in the conference.
Yep. And I don't care if you're disappointed, bro. You got a quarterback battle at the wrong time, brother. Sorry, not sorry. Arch ain't in no quarterback battle. This is his team. He got weapons. He got a defense. And so, taking Texas. Next, we go from the Natty winner to the reigning Big Ten champ in Oregon. Oregon's coming off a 13-1, 9-0 season where they won the Big Ten 45-37 against Penn State. Sorry, Trent. And then they lost in the first round they lost in the quarterfinal, of the college football playoff 41-21 versus Ohio State, just straight BTA. That game was over before it started. I remember I was at my mom's house watching the game. I left before halftime to go home. So that game was crazy. They returned 5 starters, 2 on offense, 3 on defense. They returned Evan Stewart, wide receiver, 48 catches, 613 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And Titum Toyota, linebacker, 58 total tackles, 31 solos, 5.5 sacks, pass breakup, and a forced fumble. And they returned Mateo Ungale, linebacker, 38 total tackles, 24 solos, 10.5 sacks, pass breakup, interception, and 2 forced fumbles. And Bryce Detler, linebacker, 94 total tackles, 50 solos, 2 sacks, 4 pass breakups, interception, forced fumble. Now, they lost a lot. Now, a lot of these guys went to the league. Dylan Gabriel went to the Browns with 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns, 72.9 completion percentage, 3,857 yards. Jordan James, a running back on the 49ers, which I think that's just Kyle Shanahan just doing what he do at running back, finding a gym. 15 total rushing touchdowns, 1,267 yards, averaging 5.4 a carry. Ches Johnson to your Buccaneers, have 10 receiving touchdowns, 898 yards. Trayshawn Holden to the Cowboys, 718 yards, 5 touchdowns. Terrence Ferguson, 3 touchdowns. Took him forever to score his first. Currently on the Rams with 591 yards. Tysheem Johnson, a defensive back, with 3 interceptions on the Bears. Kobe Savage from safety, currently just not playing ball right now. 64 total tackles, 35 solos, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery. Jeffrey Bossa, currently on the Chiefs, who had 54 total tackles, 2 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack and a half. Jordan Burch, who had 8.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, currently on the Cardinals. Jabbar Muhammad, currently on the Jags, who in my opinion was just straight up lockdown, 12 pass breakups. And Derek Harmon, former Spartan, defensive tackle, 45 total tackles, 27 solos, 5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Currently on the Steelers. Had to give my shout out to a Spartan that got drafted first round, even though he got drafted out of Oregon. Don't care. 3rd overall recruiting class, 5th in transfers. Talk to me about Oregon, Trent.
Yeah, I think another season where they're a clear favorite to be, up there as far as 1, 2, maybe 3. But again, we talk about the retooling. It's a part of the college football world that we live in. Dante Moore takes over after sitting behind Gabriel. And as you mentioned, they went and got busy in the transfer portal on the offensive line. Playmakers like Jeremiah McClellan and Justice Lowe are going to be, out there, I think, running circles around some Big Ten secondaries. And Kenyon Sadiq steps into a bigger role as one of their bigger, I think he might have been their leading pass catcher last year.
Nah, you sure?
No.
Leading? Was it not? I gotta look. Maybe it was Ted Johnson. But
It probably wasn't a tight end. But he was up. He's a top returning pass catcher for sure. So I think he's going to get the ball a lot more this season. But again, amazing depth, amazing incoming talent, and returning a core that went 13-1, 9-0 in Big Ten championships last year. So the hardest thing about being at the top is staying at the top. So clearly they're going to have to fight off the Penn States and the Ohio States of the world. But I really enjoy what Dan Lanning has been doing with the Oregon program. And like I said, they're easily one of the Big Ten favorites going into the 2025 year, returning as Big Ten champions. So Looking forward to what they got going on out west. Wouldn't shock me if they were back in the Big Ten championship this season.
Yeah, so Ted Johnson led him in passing yards, receiving yards.
They did.
Last year. A position battle I think people ain't talking about enough. Mekhi Hughes versus Noah Whittington at running back. Who's going to get that week 1 start? I think it might be Mekhi Hughes. I'm not going to lie. Mekhi Hughes as a freshman at Tulane was incredible. And then last year, he just adds on to it with 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5.3 a carry at Tulane. I think he might take that job from Noah Whittington. Now, Whittington does have, Coach Landon knows him more. He was with the team last year. He had his explosive runs when he was spelling Jordan James. But I love me some Mekhi Hughes, so I think he might win that. They did get Dylan Thiemann, the safety I was talking to you about, that I put up there with the best of college football, coming from Purdue, where he had 104 total tackles, 70 solos, a sack, and 6 pass breakups. And then again, Deron Johnson from Northwestern, who had 10 pass breakups and 2 interceptions and a pick 6 from Northwestern. So Oregon just making moves, adding on to the reloading of Oregon. They were 22nd in total offense, 15 in total defense, 13th in passing, 76 in rushing, 17th in scoring offense, 25th in passing defense. We're tied 25th, 38th in rushing defense, and 16th in scoring defense. If you're ready, we can talk about the schedule.
Let's get it.
All right. So first game against Montana State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Second game against Oklahoma State at home, win.
Also a win.
Start Big Ten with a road game against Northwestern, win.
Win as well, yep.
The Civil War against Oregon State, a win.
I also have as a win.
On the road at Penn State, lost.
Whiteout. Yep, I agree. It's a loss at Penn State. I will say, looking at the schedule, while they do have the Oklahoma States and the Oregon States of the world on their conference, or on their schedule rather, probably a bit more of a favorable strength of schedule to start the season than Penn State does, but obviously going to be the real test for both teams. But that whiteout environment and that whiteout energy hopefully plays to Penn State's favor in that game.
I agree. The Civil War kind of hasn't been the same since Jonathan Smith left. At home against Indiana, win.
Yep, that's also a win.
At Rutgers, well, I got him winning out the rest of the schedule. I just have him losing Penn State.
Yeah, I was going to say the only loss I have for him is against Penn State.
So 11-1, 8-1, taking the over 10.5 win total for Oregon. Now, I'm going to do like I let Ace and Dave do. I've been starting off, but this is Penn State. We are. So.
I appreciate it. Well, yeah.
Thing, bruh.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, looking at a Penn State team who had hosted a college football playoff game last season, got to the college football semifinal, and was runner-up in the Big Ten championship game. So a lot to build on. You're looking at a returning offense of Drew Aller, great quarterback. You're looking at the Nick Singletons and Katron Allens of the world. Really of a team that is looking to retool and go win a national championship. We talked about the addition of Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator. You're going to have Andy Kotelnicki back for year 2 at offensive coordinator. So a little bit of familiarity on the offensive side of the ball, and then a little bit of a change on the defensive side of the ball, but bringing in former national champion coordinator last season. Upgrade for sure. So, I mean, my expectations for this team, even if I wasn't as biased as I'm about to be, is extremely high. I do think this is a championship or bust season for the Penn State Nittany Lions. I don't think I can say that many more years. The big thing to talk about, though, is the transfer portal and the wide receiver room. I think Penn State fans can agree, and college football watchers across the globe can agree that the last few years, wide receiver has been a troubled issue for the Penn State offense in unison with such a great running back room and a great tight end room. They do lose Tyler Warren to the draft, and they do lose Abdul Carter to the draft. So 2 huge losses, one being your best offensive player and your best defensive player. But We have Trevor Pena, a wide receiver transfer from Syracuse that I'm excited about. Devontae Ross coming.
Hold on, I gotta stop you.
Go ahead.
Gotta ask the question.
Yep.
Did y'all pay the $2 million?
Hard to say. Hard to say. I mean, hey, I'm not going to say no because I don't know, but it's definitely the rumors are out there, and to say I'd be surprised if it wasn't or if it didn't happen, can't say that. But you also get Devontae Ross, another wide receiver coming in from Troy, and my computer just froze. Can you still hear me?
I hear you good.
Okay, cool. And Kyron Hudson from USC. So really 3 brand new wide receivers on this starting offense. Liam Clifford is probably going to be the wide receiver 4, younger brother of Sean Clifford going into his senior year. But 3 new tools for Drew Aller to get the ball to. Last year, when push came to shove, Penn State struggled against the Ohio States and the Notre Dames of the world. In my belief, solely to just wide receivers not being able to get open. Drew Aller, obviously a huge prove-it year for him. They are going to lose their backup quarterback in Bo Pribula, who transferred to Missouri. But this is Drew Aller's senior season. He is projected to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country and potentially a very high draft pick going into the year. So with Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, and Katron Allen, this offense is essentially holding 3 of the better seniors in the country, in my opinion. It's really going to be how does the new offense look with these 3 new wide receivers on the outside? Can they get open, and can they provide some sort of relief to Drew Aller? The defense, like we talked about, Jim Knowles coming in, defensive coordinator from Ohio State. Really, in my opinion, going to be another great year for the defense, returning Danny Sutton, Zane Durant, Tony Rojas. The secondary will be the question mark. However, they are returning a lot of people as well. So that's another year of experience under their belt. Excited to see what Elliott Washington can do. They do bring in a safety transfer, Mac King from Alabama, or King Mac rather, from Alabama. And then you're going to have A.J. Harrison, Zion Tracy back, and Zakee Wheatley. So can't talk enough about the returning players. Obviously, I talked about Warren and Abdul Carter, but this is a roster that was 1 game away from the national championship last year and lost 2 great players, but is also bringing back a loaded roster with a national championship defensive coordinator. So my personal opinion, this is a make it or break it year, a championship or bust season for Penn State, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do.
Yeah, I think the words you're looking for is do or die. It's
Yep.
now or never.
Exactly.
And I couldn't agree more. Drew Aller, though, oh man, I think we're on the opposite end of the spectrum with Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller has arm talent. Absolutely. Do I think it's Drew Aller? I think it's Drew Aller decision making that gets him in trouble. I said it before on the podcast, on the Refuse to Lose podcast, when we had one of the former Penn State's defensive linemen. We interviewed him. I forgot his name. But it's up here with Drew Aller, in my opinion. Now, I do think the addition of the 3 receivers you talked about, especially Devontae Ross, I think he's an underrated addition coming out of Troy. I think that may help a lot. And with the OCs talking about he wants to revamp Penn State's passing game last season. Second year with Drew Aller, better receivers, in my opinion. Love Trey Wallace to death, but didn't really have much help. Julian Fleming proved to be not so good coming from Ohio State. It was basically Tyler Warren and possibly Trey Harris or bust. So I do think with those 3 receivers, you give Drew Aller more of an option. You mix in the run game, like you said, with Singleton, which I expect Singleton to get more carries. Granted, look at the stats. You see 172 carries, but you see Katron getting 220. I think Nick Singleton should probably get more of the bulk of the carries, in my opinion. That's just me personally.
Yeah, I think that was more attributed to Singleton dealing with some injury last season.
Okay, I can respect.
But I agree. They need to get Singleton. Singleton is your home run hitter. They like to joke and call him thunder and lightning, and Nick Singleton's definitely your lightning in the bottle there.
Yeah, so respect. But this team, to me, is just all on Drew Aller. If Drew Allard doesn't make the mistakes, he doesn't have the interception like the Notre Dame game, then hey, you might could compete for a natty. But if Drew Allard just don't got it, or if he's making those mistakes, I think your ceiling is, I don't want to spoil, but I think your ceiling, Big Ten championship game, your roof. Oh, excuse me. Your ceiling, is the natty. Your
Right.
floor is the Big Ten championship game.
Absolutely.
But I am super high on Penn State, as you can tell, as we was doing other teams when they played against Penn State, I had them losing. And Dennis Sutton, is potential defensive player of the year, in my opinion, this upcoming season. He had a really spectacular year alongside Abdul Carter. It is his chance to prove it. Now he's the guy that teams will be looking to attack on the defensive side of the ball. It's no longer we have to stop Abdul first, then Sutton. It's now we have to stop Sutton on the line, and then maybe a Zane Durant or somebody else. But if he can have a great season, he could be potentially a defensive player of the year candidate for the Big Ten, especially because it's hard for anybody outside of pass rushers to win defensive player of the year. Now, he is in a tough conference where they do have guys like Caleb Downs and Dylan Thiemann who can win defensive player of the year at safety, or Corey Pritchard, like we said, at Minnesota, who can win defensive player of the year. But he, in my opinion, is one of those guys that can win it as well. But a transfer I like to touch on from North Carolina, Amari Campbell, transferred in at linebacker to replace possibly Kobe King. 76 total tackles, 45 solos, 6.5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. So that's another pickup there that was good for your defense. But some numbers: 26 in offense, total offense, 7th in total defense, 66 in passing, 17th in rushing, 28th in scoring offense, 31st in passing defense, 9th in rushing defense, 8th in scoring defense. If you're ready, we can get into the schedule.
Let's do it.
Short and sweet, undefeated.
Short and sweet, undefeated. I do want to touch on, though, the first 3 games, Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. I know Penn State's been getting a lot of slack for their out-of-conference schedule as late, but I think when you look at what the SEC has been doing, this is very fair. So we touched on it a little earlier, going into that Oregon game. 4 home games to start the season, and that 4th home game being the whiteout against Oregon, going to be the real test. Outside of Oregon at home and Ohio State on the road, there's absolutely no reason Penn State should be losing more than 2 games this season, and that would be the absolute worst case scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that this is, again, a reloaded roster, like you said before. And, I mean, I want to touch on your comment about your out-of-conference schedule. I mean, I know I joked with Michigan, but it's Michigan. I'm always joking with them. But, like, there's no different than anybody else in the Big Ten with our weak non-conference. Ours is, Western, Boston College, and Youngstown State, which is an FCS school. You see Michigan plays New Mexico first game of the year. So, and, I mean, and to y'all credit, y'all did play West Virginia the last 2 years. Now, West Virginia didn't live up to the hype that they had coming into last season. But the year before had a really good season, and they played y'all pretty decent. So, I mean, y'all not doing nothing different than anybody else. And like you said, the SEC, they be playing like North Alabama and UL Monroe and Mercer, Citadel. So I feel you on that. But, yeah, I have y'all being undefeated. Like you said, the 2 tests being Oregon at home and the whiteout, which favors y'all time difference. Y'all at home, got the home crowd behind you. Oregon starting a guy with not that much experience. And Ohio State on the road, but y'all are one of the few teams that play Ohio State extremely well consistently in the Big Ten. And, again, they have a quarterback position battle. We don't know what that quarterback battle is going to look like up until that point, but with a really good defense, Jim Knowles was on that staff just last year. He has knowledge. So, yeah, Jim Knowles is also a big reason why I have y'all going undefeated.
No, I agree. I can't touch on it enough. I just think the Drew Aller struggles are warranted, and I hear you loud and clear. The big thing for me is just is that wide receiver room ready to compete, because what we saw last year against Caleb Downs on Tyler Warren wasn't a favorable matchup, and same thing in the Big Ten championship, or I'm sorry, the college football semifinal against Notre Dame. You can just tell the wide receivers were struggling to get open. Yeah,
James Franklin also got to shake that narrative, which is a fair narrative about him not being ranked team. So. And I see Joe said right here, James Franklin says the best team he's had, including coaching staff. This is 100% true in my opinion. Even Absolutely. The team with like Saquon, this might be better than them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no.
top to
Well,
bottom.
if anything, it's the team with the most expectation.
Yeah, I don't know, but the team with like Saquon, it was what Saquon, what Chris Godwin still there, or was he gone by then? No, Godwin was gone, right?
Godwin was there, but you have to understand Chris Godwin was like a 3rd-round draft pick and not really highly touted I mean, he was a great college football player, but I think he I would argue he made a bigger name for himself in the NFL than he did.
True. And then it was Sean Clifford. I'm not that high. I was never that big of a Sean
Saquon
Clifford
the
guy.
year they won the Big Ten championship was Trace McSorley.
Oh, even worse. Well, no, I like Trace McSorley more than I like Sean Clifford. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
But
that
still,
was Saeed Blacknall, Chris Godwin.
Who was like your edge rushers? Was that Micah? Oh no, Micah didn't play yet, right?
Michael wasn't there yet. Who was on that defense?
Y'all
Linebacker.
always got a tough defense.
Yeah, linebackers were like Kabinda, Marcus Allen.
Safety.
Marcus Allen's good safety. I'm trying to think who was on the line. I can't even think who was on the line that year.
Was it y'all had Yatir Montes Gross, right?
Etergos Matos, but I believe that was after.
I can't remember, but I don't know. I think this still might be a better team.
And
then, like you said, including the coaching staff. So I'm not mad at that. By James Franklin, James Franklin, have to get over that hump as well. But short and sweet, undefeated.
Let's get it.
See, Ty, I'm not a hater. Remember what I was talking about backstage about somebody might be calling me a hater, but that was for Ty. I got y'all going undefeated, bruh. So if you see this, I keep it real on the pod. But we can move forward to Purdue with the only head coaching change in the Big Ten. Purdue, after one season, let go of Ryan Walters. They bring in Barry Odom from UNLV. I mean, I normally believe in giving coaches some rope, but 1-11, 0-9 is kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I get it. He's at Purdue. He's filling in the huge shoes left by Jeff Brom, but 0-9 in Big Ten plays is not going to get it done. And then you win one game on the season in general, which I believe was the first game, and then lose out. I can see why people at Purdue were pissed. They returned one starter, which is the fewest not only in the Big Ten, but all of the Power Four. And I would imagine in the country, to be completely honest, no, Marshall probably has the lowest in the country because they had to forfeit the bowl game. So it's Marshall.
Side note, did Huff get a job?
Yeah, he had the job. That's why he left. He got the Southern Miss job.
That's right. Southern Miss.
And immediately everybody like transferred with him over to Southern Miss, and that's why Marshall had to forfeit because everybody left and went to Southern Miss with him. But
and Marshall was very adamant on like not bringing him back.
Yeah, they weren't going to pay him. That's why he left.
Okay, got you.
Southern Miss was like, "Oh, we got a guy that just won our conference to come in conference.
Yeah,
sign me up."
After one of their best seasons.
And so, shout out to him. But yeah, they only returned Devin Mockabee, running back with 138 carries, 687 yards, 5 a carry, and 4 touchdowns. So he's gonna have a whole new set of teammates and brothers at Purdue. They lost Hudson Card, which really kind of disappointing career for me at Purdue. Last season, 144, 248, 1,641 yards, 58.1 completion percentage, 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Nice clear, again, with Ohio State, one of the few productive players at Purdue, along with Dylan Thiemann, who went to Oregon. Kydran Jenkins, 83 total tackles, 47 solos, and 7 sacks. Yanni Karloftis, again, went to Northwestern. Will Helt went to Clemson. Look at Clemson using the transfer portal, man. The world must be changing very quickly. Defensive end with 56 total tackles, 37 solos, 5 sacks, a fumble recovery, and a scuba score. Ryland Green, who went to Arizona State, along with Kydrich Breelove, who's a safety. Both of them transferred to Arizona State. They had 64th in overall recruiting class, 49th in transfers, but I believe they had 54 incoming transfers. Talk to me about Purdue.
Yeah, the 54 incoming transfers is really the big one here. 60 players, I think, involved in the portal. You talk about Odom coming over from UNLV. You look at the schedule, and there's not much in favor in Purdue. I'm rooting for them. I'm hoping, if you go 1-11 and 0-9, you would expect the only way to be up. They're going to have a full competition a full competition at quarterback with Malachi Singleton from Arkansas, EJ Colson from UCF, and I even think Evan Schuba from Washington State.
I'm about to say it's 3 of them, but I only wrote down Malachi. I think he went
Yeah.
too.
And then Malachi Thomas, running back coming from Virginia Tech. And then 5 new starters basically going to be on the offensive line. So it's hard to project what this team's going to do when it's essentially a brand new team. Like I said, looking at the schedule, it's going to it's probably not going to be a favorable season for them, but you would like to think that they can improve in the Big Ten or at least overall. They were dead last in the Big Ten last year, obviously at 0-9, and 130th nationally in points per game at 15.8, and then 131st in points allowed at 39.9. So they clearly have to clean up that margin, and hopefully Coach Odom coming in from UNLV with some of his transfers gives them kind of that solid foundation they need, and then they can work with the talent that they brought in within that portal.
Yeah, so I wrote down the most transfers for Purdue than I did for any Big Ten team because, like I said, they had 54 incoming. And like you said, it's hard to project when they have a brand new team. Like you only bring back 1 starter, so it's kind of different. And a whole new coaching staff, a whole new head coach. It's tough to project, but it's tough to be optimistic about it as well. Because I don't think Barry Odom will turn them around right away. Purdue is not a team where they have like lofty expectations in football. Now, basketball is a different story. Matt Painter, what he got going on at Purdue, completely different. Purdue is not really a football school. On the other hand, they've had moments with the Drew Breeses and the Aiden O'Connells, stuff like that, but they're not typically the top of Big Ten football. But I wrote down Hershey McLaurin, a transfer safety from Houston, who had 27 total solos, 50 total tackles, 3 pass breakups, a pick, and a forced fumble. Braylon Charles, a D lineman from North Texas, who had 4.5 sacks, 29 total tackles. CJ Nunnally, an edge from Akron, who had 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 56 total tackles. Chad Brown, a cornerback, who had 6 pass breakups and an interception. Tony Grimes, who for some reason is still in college. I feel like Tony Grimes has been around since the shortened season of 2020.
He's I think this season is the last season for COVID kids.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can say that word on the tube, but the shortened season kids, we'll say that.
The COVID kids. Sorry, my bad. The shortened season kids.
I think Tony Grimes is one of those, I believe. But yeah, he comes in from UNLV, comes over with Barry Odoms, and again, I wrote down Malachi Singleton, who had 3 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown at Arkansas. But if you're ready, we could talk about the schedule.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. They win against Ball State, win against Southern Illinois. I have them losing out from then on.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I have them winning 1 Big Ten game, and that was mentioned earlier at Northwestern.
And I can see that, to be honest. But yeah, I have them going 2-10, 0-9.
Yep, 3-9, 1-8. Yep.
So we both have the under 3.5 win total for Purdue. Sorry, Barry Odom, rough first season, but to be honest, you expected that with the job. So we'll move on to Rutgers, which I had Rutgers fans in my comments talking to me crazy my first year at CTC. I have a feeling they're going to be talking to me crazy again. Is what it is, bro. I'm sorry. Y'all have a type at quarterback that I just do not like. We move on. Hold on. We got a comment from Joe. Purdue so bad, y'all had to skip through it. No, so not really. It's just I'm gonna say the first 2 wins and have them losing out anyway. That's what I normally do. Like for Penn State, I said short and sweet, undefeated. And then we expanded on it. But that's because we have a lot of information to talk about with Penn State. Purdue, it's just like everything is so new head coach. Knew everything, so it's like it's really tough to really expand on what Purdue could be, but I do think it's still bad. Next, like I said, Rutgers coming off a 7-6, 4-5 season where they lost the Rate Bowl 44-41 to K-State, basically a shootout, which is crazy to me. They do break Ethan Kelly-Agmanis, who had a solid season for Rutgers. 53.9 completion percentage, which is not good. You would want that to be better. But he had 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, 2,696 yards. So an improvement there from the season he had at Minnesota. They bring back Ian Strong, a wide receiver, and who had 5 touchdowns, 676 yards. So the familiarity with Kelly Agmanis. They bring back Duriel Darbaum, linebacker, who had 105 total tackles, 49 solos, 3.5 sacks, pass breakup, and 2 forced fumbles. Kyle Sanders, who had 16 solos and 4 pass breakups at safety. Now, they did lose their heart and soul, in my opinion, of the team, Kyle Monunga at running back. 256 carries, 1,279 yards, 5 a carry, and 13 touchdowns currently on the Bears, who he could be like a third and short goal line back guy for the Chicago Bears. I think he's going to be very useful for them. Dymere Miller at wide receiver is currently on the Jets, who had 757 yards and 4 touchdowns. Robert Longerbeam at cornerback, I really like him a lot. He's currently on the Ravens. He had 11 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. He's a physical guy. Shaquan Loyal, defensive back, 75 total, 46 solos, a sack, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. He on the ops, he on the Bengals. Lost Tyreen Powell, edge, who had 2 pass breakups and a forced fumble for the Saints currently. And Kayonte Hamilton, a defensive lineman on the Texans, who had 4 sacks. Oh, my bad. And Desmond Igbinosun, also currently on the Ravens, who had 2 pass breakups, 28 solos, and 57 total tackles at DB. They had a 38th overall recruiting class, 57th in 51st, in transfers. Talk to me about Rutgers, Trent. Are you frozen? Oh, no. Are you there, Trent? Hold on. I'm going to kick you off and bring you back. Oh, your screen blacked out. Trent is having technical difficulties. Oh, here we go. Can you say something? All right. So while Trent is having technical difficulties, Trent just I can't see you backstage. Like, I can see your background. There you go. Okay, you just popped up. Move. All right, you're still frozen. All right, just give me a thumbs up or like wave your hand, and I'll let you know if I can see you. Then I'll bring you back up. Oh, I hate when it does this. All right, so we'll talk about some transfers real quick. Now, Kelly Agmanis will have a new weapon. He will have DT Sheffield, a receiver, a speedy receiver. He was really good at North Texas. He was a dog. He was explosive. Get the ball, get that man the ball in open space and let him work. He had 66 catches for 122 yards and 11 touchdowns. Again, a dog of a receiver for North Texas. You're moving in frames, Trent. CJ Campbell, he transfers in at running back from FAU. Another dog of a running back who has 165 carries, 844 yards, and 11 touchdowns, 5.1 a carry. I actually saw him play when they played MSU first game of the season. I believe he played in that game with was the quarterback Cam Fancher. I want to say that was the quarterback for FAU. We almost lost that game, by the way. That was the first game after Aiden Child said, bet the over on our games, and we proceeded to not be consistent offensively. I got laughed at a ton for that. Again, Trent, you're still moving in frames like you're moving, but I don't know if you got to like reset or like leave the StreamYard and come back, but like you're moving in frames. And wrote down Cam Miller, cornerback, transfer from Penn State, who had 5 pass breakups and 27 total tackles, 17 solos. And Jacoby Henderson, a transfer at cornerback from Marshall, who had 50 total tackles, 28 solos, 10 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. So they're looking to replace some production in that secondary, losing Longerbeam and Igbinosun and Shaquan Loyal. Rutgers, man, I think what scares me about Rutgers is, again, Ethan Kelly Agmanis. He had a solid season, but is it going to be consistently solid? Is he going to be able to consistently I don't know. I just don't know if he can be consistent. I think a lot of Rutgers wins relied on Kyle Monunga, and Kyle Monunga is no longer there. I like CJ Campbell as a transfer, but can he carry the workload for Rutgers like Kyle did and result in wins? I'm not sure. And they're putting a lot on the shoulder of Kelly Agmanis, and Minnesota did the same thing, and it did not look as good. And that's why he left to transfer to Rutgers. It kind of reminds me of Gavin Wimsatt a little bit. Wimsatt better with his legs, but they relied a lot on Kyle Monunga. It resulted in a bowl win against Miami, but I don't know. I just don't know with the offense having to rely on Kelly Agmanis how good they can be. And that's like my biggest question mark for Rutgers this season. They were 71st in total offense, 95th in total defense, 92nd in passing, 45th in rushing, tied 55th in scoring offense, 87th in passing defense, 89th in rushing defense, and 71st in scoring defense. So Rutgers is normally a solid team. They did also lose Muhammad Toure to Miami coming off the injury. He left to the U. So that's also big for Rutgers. So, yeah, I just think Kelly Egmont has been the biggest question mark. Scares me for Rutgers. I guess I'll get into the schedule, and Trent can talk about Rutgers when we do the Big Ten wrap-up or whatever we miss because he's having technical difficulties. But Rutgers, they start the season with Ohio, and I don't think Ohio's a sweet opponent, but I do think Trent, it's all good. I got your message. It's all good. I do think with Ohio losing Tim Albin, it'll be tough for me to think of the Ohio of years past when Albin is no longer leading the charge. Now, they did promote within house, so that's good, but I got to see it. So I give the win to Rutgers. Next, we have Miami of Ohio. So back-to-back MAC opponents. Miami of Ohio loses a lot. They lose Blaine Gabbert. They lose Javon Tracy. So I'm eager to see what Miami of Ohio looks like. I'm actually eager to see how the MAC looks. I'm still trying to figure out who I got winning the MAC. I'll say this so far. I am leaning Toledo to win the MAC this year, but I think Rutgers beats Miami of Ohio just due to the amount they lose. And Miami of Ohio is a really defensive team, but if you could play them well defensively, offensively, they're I don't want to say they'll fold, but they're not a team that has to rely. They don't want to rely on scoring points, and I think Rutgers can hold them defensively and just run up the scoreboard. So next, we have Norfolk State. Shout out to Michael Vick, but this is a W for Rutgers, FCS opponent. I just don't think they have enough. It's just a recruiting mismatch. Then the first Big Ten play against Iowa, I have as an L against Iowa, even though it's at home. Iowa, I think they'll out Rutgers. I think they'll run the ball better. They'll have better defense. Kamari Moulton is more proven in the Big Ten than CJ Campbell. CJ Campbell is proven, but that's the American League, American Athletic Conference. Kamari Moulton is more proven in the Big Ten. So give me Iowa to out Iowa Rutgers. Next is at Minnesota. Again, Minnesota, a really solid Big Ten team. Zach Pyron, I think, is going to add that extra dimension to the being a dual threat guy. So I have Minnesota winning at home. Then at Washington, I have as a loss. Time zone change on the road. Washington, a solid team looking to improve after last season. Again, Kelly Egmont, can he get it done against a team? Don't know. Give me a loss there. Oregon, enough said, a loss. Purdue, I have them going winless in Big Ten play, so I have them beating Purdue. And then I have them losing out to Illinois, who I'm high on. Maryland, who that game, it's at Rutgers, so Maryland can very well lose that game, to be completely honest with you. Rutgers could upset Maryland. Well, I don't want to say upset, but Rutgers could beat Maryland in that game. But I'm going to give Maryland the win. At Ohio State, enough said. And then at home against Penn State, enough said. So I think this is a bad year for Rutgers. But now I do have some games where I have them going 4-8, 1-8, taking the under 5.5. Now, there are some games that can flip to make Rutgers a bowl win or a bowl team. The Maryland game is one game I could flip for sure. And then I would say possibly the Iowa game. The Iowa game is possibly a game that could flip to make Rutgers a bowl team, but I just don't see Rutgers making a bowl game this year. Now, again, I know Rutgers fans are going to kill me in the comments like they did my first year, and that's fine. That's cool. We can, have a conversation about it just like I did my first year. It's all good. I'm just not high on your quarterback. And when I'm not high on your quarterback, it leaves me to be not high on your team. You don't have a proven running back like Kyle Monaghan like last season or the past few years to carry you guys. So that's why I am not high on Rutgers. So I am on the under 5.5 for Rutgers. We will now move on to, as I text Trent back, we will now move on to UCLA. UCLA, a team under Deshaun Foster. Deshaun Foster first year, he went 5-7, 3-6. Around what I thought he would go. No, blaming him as his first year. He was taking over a lot of turnover. Chip Kelly left. Two of his quarterbacks, in Dante Moore and Colin Shelley, left. The running back Carson Steele, he also left. They lost a lot, so he was trying to. He was dealing with a lot of turnover. First year head coach, boom. He returned 6 starters though, 4 on offense, 2 on defense. Oh, I did change it. Return Quasi Gilmer, wide receiver, 31 catches, 345 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devin Alpia, defensive lineman with 15 total tackles, 11 solos, a sack and a half, pass breakup, and a forced fumble. Chile Tupaki, defensive lineman, 23 total, 14 solos, and a sack. Ethan Garbers, they lose him. Quarterback who went 235 and 363, 64.7 completion percentage, 2,727 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 11 picks. TJ Harden, a running back. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm still trying. I'm in communication with Trent, trying to get him back. TJ Harden went to SMU. I talked about it in my ACC preview. 124 carries, 506 yards, 4.1 a carry, and 2 touchdowns. Moliki Matovo, tight end. They lost him to the Saints. 506 yards and 2 touchdowns. I believe he was their leading receiver. They lost Carson Schlesinger, which I'm hearing a lot from the Browns. They really like him at linebacker, which I like them at linebacker. 136 total tackles, 90 solo tackles. To let you know the type of guy he is at linebacker, 4 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. KJ Wallace at defensive back, 49 total tackles, 38 solos, a sack, and 10 pass breakups. Kalen Moore at defensive back, 37 total tackles, 28 solos, 9 pass breakups, a pick, and a forced fumble. Brian Addison at defensive back, 43 total tackles, 31 solos, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and a fumble recovery. Kane Madrano, linebacker, 72 total tackles, 50 solos, a sack and a half, 4 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, touchdown, 3 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Currently on the Commanders. And Devin Kirkwood, a defensive back, who had 24 total tackles, 14 solos, half a sack, 4 pass breakups, and a pick. They were 36 in overall recruiting class, 20th in transfers, bringing in guys like Caden Robinson, who was supposed to play for UCLA. They rejected his eligibility to play for UCLA, but he is currently suing the NCAA to get his eligibility. So it's a possibility that he will be there. It's not 100% confirmed right now. He's not eligible, but he's suing, trying to get his eligibility so he can play. So I listed him because of that. It's not looking likely right now, but he is trying to get it. Jameer Johnson from Indiana transfers in at cornerback, who had 35 total tackles, 25 solos, and a pick. Javier Thomas at running back from Cal transfers in 100 carries, 626 yards, 6.3 a carry, and 7 touchdowns. Nico Iamaleava, actually, let me save him for last. Isaiah Chisholm, a transfer linebacker from Oregon State with 75 total tackles, 30 solos, and a forced fumble. And Nico Iamaleava transfers in from Tennessee. You know, he forced his way out of Tennessee with all the NIL. UCLA took him in. 213 to 334, 63.8 completion percentage, 2,616 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 358 yards, and 3 touchdowns at Tennessee. Now, I want to talk about Nico for a second. As I'm responding back to Trent. I'm not high on Nico. I will say that. If you watch the show, you know I'm not. I think, to be honest, he held Tennessee back. In my opinion. Dylan Sampson was the heart and soul of that team, the leader of that team. He was the engine that made that team go. If Nico Iamaleava was a better decision maker, a better passer of the ball, Tennessee could have did amazing things, in my opinion. I think Nico Iamaleava, great dual threat guy, can use his legs. He had a great bowl game running the football the year prior to last season. But quarterbacking, just not that great for Tennessee. Made a lot of bad decisions. They had a great record. Don't get me wrong. Really good defense. Ran the ball extremely well. Dylan Sampson, I believe, was SEC Player of the Year. You know how crazy it is for your running back to win Player of the Year over your quarterback in today's age and time? So, I'm not here to slander the kid. I'm just here to say I'm not high on Nico like some guys or some scouts are. I hope he can prove me wrong. I hope he has a great season. But right now, I'm just not high on the kid. And like I said, when I'm not high on your quarterback, I'm not high on your team. I like Javian Thomas. I like Jameer Johnson. I like Hayden Robertson if he could possibly play. If he wins the lawsuit for his eligibility. But Nico Iamaleava, I feel the same way I feel about him like I felt about DJ Uiagalelei. And we saw what he did last year at Florida State. He did worse than I thought he would do. So that is why you might see my record the way it is for UCLA. But they were 118th in total offense, 39th in total defense, 47th in passing, 131st in rushing, 126th in scoring offense, 107th in passing defense, 6th in rushing defense, 69th in scoring defense. So for real, offensively is nowhere but up for UCLA, to be honest. But let's get into the schedule. They start off the year with Utah. And I want to give UCLA the win because they're at home. And Utah, they just, in recent memory, they have not shown me to be a good team without, well, a good offense. They've really good defense. But offensively, without Cam Rising, they sputter. They can't control drives. They can't finish drives. I know Isaiah Wilson is back, whatever that's supposed to mean, but I gave it to UCLA, man. I think the dual threat ability of Nico and Javier Thomas, I think that's going to put some pressure on the Utah defense. Probably slow up pass rushers for Utah. And if Utah can't sustain drives, I might think of an under in this game, to be completely honest. I do wonder what that is, but I went UCLA in this one. At UNLV, I went with a loss. Dan Mullen taking over UNLV, bringing in Calandria, bringing in guys. I think this UNLV team could possibly win the Mountain West, could possibly be like a Boise State of last season. And I think they can upset UCLA here like they were last year, so close to upsetting Syracuse. I think they upset Kansas. They won some Power 4 games last season. I think they can do so again, starting with UCLA. Next, we have New Mexico. I have them winning there. And I have them losing to Northwestern, Penn State, Michigan State on the road, Northwestern on the road, Maryland at home, Indiana on the road, Nebraska at home, Ohio State on the road before they finally win a Big Ten game, beating Washington at home and losing in the rivalry game to USC at USC, going 3-9, 1-8, taking the under 5.5 for UCLA and Deshaun Foster. Now, Nico, you can prove me wrong. And I think if Nico proves me wrong, they make a bowl game. But if he plays to where I'm not high on him and has decision-making issues and just making bad reads, it's a bad season for UCLA. And they regret the NIL money spent to bring him over there. But we can move on to the crosstown rival at USC. Lincoln Riley basically picks Jaden Maiava over Miller Moss. Miller Moss transfers to Louisville. So starts the Maiava ever last season where they went 7-6, 4-5 after Miller Moss was benched. They did win the Vegas Bowl against Texas A&M 35-31. They returned 8 starters, 5 on offense, 3 on defense. Like I said, Jaden Maiava being a starting quarterback who went 101 at 169, 59.8% completion percentage, 1,201 yards, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but 4 on the ground as well. They bring back Mekhi Lemon, who had 52 catches, 764 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jacoby Lane, who had 43 catches, 525 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And Lake McCree, a tight end, who had 24 catches, 245 yards. Now they also bring back Amari Ramsey, a safety who had 60 total tackles, 43 solos, 2 sacks, 5 pass breakups, an interception, 2 forced fumbles. And Devin Tompkins, who a D tackle, who had 24 total tackles, 14 solos, a sack and a half, and 3 pass breakups. They lost, like I said, Miller Moss, was 2,555 yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 64.4 completion percentage. You give that to Jeff Brom. He's going to have fun with him. And again, I felt like Miller Moss got the short end of the stick. I don't think he was like the sole reason why USC was dropping games. But he took it like a soldier. He took accountability like you would like your quarterback to do. And he said, you can put the blame on me. And he left. And good luck to him. Woody Marks left. He's currently on the Texans. Running back who had 198 carries, 1,133 yards, 5.7 a carry, and 9 touchdowns. Zachariah Branch left. He's currently on the University of Georgia, which sucks. Him and his brother went to Georgia. 47 catches, 503 yards, and a touchdown. Easton Mascaris Arnold, who currently is going to Cleveland Browns. He's a linebacker who had 94 total tackles, 51 solos, 3 sacks, pass breakup, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Achille Arnold, a safety who had 59 total tackles, 36 solos, half a sack, a pass breakup and an interception. And Mason Cobb, a linebacker who had 72 total tackles, 31 solos, half a sack, a pass breakup and an interception. And Jacoby Covington, a cornerback, 29 total tackles, 21 solos, 3 pass breakups, and a forced fumble for the Chiefs, currently playing for the Chiefs. They have the 15th overall recruiting class and 17th in transfers. Bishop Fitzgerald transferred in at safety from NC State, which I like that transfer to replace the production of Achille Arnold. 55 total tackles, 35 solos, 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Eli Sanders, a transfer running back from New Mexico, who had over 1,000 yards in the Mountain West, 1,063 yards, 147 carries, 7.2 a carry, and 9 touchdowns, looking to replace the production of Woody Marks. DJ Harvey transfers in a cornerback from San Jose State, who had 58 total tackles, 40 solos, 2 sacks, 6 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown, again playing for San Jose State. And the receiver from Boise State, Prince Stratton, who had 25 catches, 304 yards, and a touchdown last year for Boise State, being behind was it Cam Camper he was behind last year? I want to say it was Cam Camper. But yeah, Teddy, I don't know, man. I don't know how you gonna feel about how I got USC doing. I know last year you had some choice words for me. I will say this. It's better than what I thought last year. I will say that. As I text you that I'm currently covering USC. The over-under, though, 7.5. Very, very interesting. Last year, they were 23rd total offense, 77th for total defense, 10th in passing, 82nd in rushing, 51st in scoring offense, 98th in passing defense, 53rd in rushing defense, and tied 56th in scoring defense. So they did improve defensively. I will say that. Oh, hold on. My boy Trent might be back. I just seen him pop up. Move it. Wave your hand, Trent. We good. Welcome back, my dog. So, sorry about them difficulties. Now, I did go through Rutgers and UCLA. So, I'll just have you give me a record and your opinions about them on the Big Ten wrap-up portion. Talk to me about USC before we go. I was just about to get into the schedule, so you could just talk to me about USC, and then we'll go into the schedule.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties there. But I think offensively, USC is going to be good again. They return Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon on the outside. They are going through a little bit of a quarterback battle quarterback position battle at the time between Jaden, is it Maiva from returning from last year? Maiva, yep. And then Husan Longstreet coming in as a freshman, who obviously is a Lincoln Riley guy. Last season went 7-6 overall, 4-5 in Big Ten play. So I'm expecting them to bounce back a little bit. Lincoln Riley is there, obviously, to improve what has been a struggling program over the years. But I think his talents in the portal and then getting these new recruits are definitely the LA type of vibe and direction they want to go. Schedule is a little tough just being in the Big Ten, but I'm really looking forward to what the defense does. They have a 5-star defensive end coming in, Jakeem Stewart, who was a national top 10 prospect, hoping he can get to the quarterback and help out what was clearly defensive struggles for the USC football team last year.
All right. So, yeah, I did talk about how defensively they did get better as opposed to, like, the last couple seasons. I think it's Jaden Maiva's position, but I've been wrong. They're both Lincoln Riley guys. You know, he brought Maiva over from UNLV last season and eventually turned the keys over to him over Miller Moss, making Miller Moss transfer out, causing him to go to Louisville, which, again, I think he's going to have fun at Louisville under Jeff Brom. But I agree. Lincoln Riley's always going to have an offense. I do like I said, I talked about the Eli Sanders edition. I think that's going to be so fun watching him and Maiva. I think they're going to be really good offensively, solid defensively. But I'm looking at the schedule. They play the Notre Dames. They play the Michigans. They play the Oregons. You know how I feel about Nebraska already. So pretty tough schedule in my opinion. Teddy, I was just telling Teddy, like, look, I know you killed me for last year. I got y'all doing better, but how much better? We're about to find out. First game of the season, Missouri State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Georgia Southern, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Purdue, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Teddy, this is where it get ugly. Now, I have a loss against Michigan State. I remember you have this as a win.
Yep.
At Illinois, I have as a loss.
I had that as a win.
At home against Michigan, I have as a loss.
I have that as a loss.
At Notre Dame, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At Nebraska, I have as a loss.
I have as a win.
At home against Northwestern, I have as a win.
I have as a win.
At home against Iowa, I have as a loss.
I have as a had that as a win. Yep.
At Oregon, I have as a loss.
Also a loss.
And in the rivalry against UCLA, I have as a win. So at least I have y'all 5-7, 3-6, but at least I got y'all beating UCLA.
The UCLA one really gets them.
Hey man, some people just gotta beat their rivals. But yeah, so I have the under 7.5 win total at 5-7, 3-6.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 wins.
9-3.
9-3.
So you have them 6-3 in conference play because you have you have them 9 wins. One of them is a loss against Purdue. So you have 2 losses in Big Ten. So you have a 7-2 in Big Ten play.
Yeah, no, I got them losing to Notre Dame, which is out of conference,
Yeah.
and then losing to Oregon and Michigan.
In Michigan.
Yep. Okay.
All the other games you have is wins. So yeah, you have them 9-3, 7-2.
Yep.
All right, hold on. I got you, Joe. Let me bring your comments up. So he said he laughed because I told Teddy that's when it gets ugly. He said, dang, because I had him losing. Because he asked me how many losses in a row is that? That is 1, 2, 3, 5 losses. They go on a 5-game lose streak, according to me. A 5-game losing streak. Now, I will say this: Michigan State is winnable. That's a flip to make a bowl game. That's the only that's the only game I could possibly see them winning, in my opinion, out of the 5. I know you got Illinois, but that's the only one I can give them. It's against us because defensively, I got to see it. And Lincoln Riley, I know, is going to have a really good offense. But I think we could score with them. I think it being at home at their house is tough. But I don't know. I think the USC is more of a finesse team, and I think we could roughen them up. I think we can muck up the game a little bit as well. But yeah, that's out that 5-game win streak. Our game is the only game I could see flip.
They could. I think the Notre Dame game could be interesting if they play. If it's a trending USC team at the time.
Yeah, that is true. That game could be interesting, but I don't see Notre Dame losing it. I think the quarterback situation is figured out by then. I think Notre Dame is always going to have a defense under Marcus Freeman, so it just depends on how the quarterback plays for Notre Dame, which I think will be fine by the time they play USC. But
Agreed.
Sorry, Teddy. I already know you're gonna curse me on the chat, so I'm ready for it. I dealt with it last year. I'll deal with it again this year. We'll move on to Washington. This is our second to last school. Wisconsin is going to finish it off. This is where my turn to look at Trent crazy when Wisconsin comes up. But Washington is coming off a 6-7, 4-5 season where they lost the Sun Bowl. Again, a crazy game against Louisville, 35-34. They returned 6 starters, 4 on offense, 2 on defense, namely Jonah Coleman and Denzel Boston. Jonah Coleman, a running back who had 10 touchdowns, 1,053 yards, and Denzel Boston, who had 834 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. On defense, they returned Ephesians Priceock, a cornerback who had 6 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and 32 solo tackles, and Isaiah Ward, who had 3 sacks on the edge and 2 pass breakups for the Huskies. They lost Will Rogers, quarterback a lot of people were high on. I was not. 220, 311, 70.7 completion percentage. I will say that. Very efficient. 2,458 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Giles Jackson is currently on the Eagles, a wide receiver who had 893 yards and 7 touchdowns. Kaliki Lasu, a tight end currently on the Bills, who had 371 yards and a touchdown. Carson Bruner, a linebacker with 104 total tackles, 60 solos, 5 pass breakups, 3 picks, and a forced fumble. Currently on the Steelers. Alonzo Tapatula, linebacker with 81 total tackles, 43 solos, 3.5 sacks, and a pass breakup. Thaddeus Dixon, currently on North Carolina, a cornerback who had 10 pass breakups and a pick. Jordan Shaw, a DB, currently on Texas A&M, who had 21 solos, 6 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And Cameron for Breed Cullen, safety, who had 54 total tackles, 27 solos, 2 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. They're the 27th overall recruiting class, 40th in transfers. Talk to me about Washington for me, Trent.
Yeah, offensively, the outlook, I think, Desmond Williams Jr. is coming back. As you mentioned, they were 4-5 in the Big Ten last season.
Yes, sir.
Pretty underwhelming, 6-7 overall. Lost that Sun Bowl game. Pretty underwhelming season after what transpired in 2023, but that's understood with the losses and the talent they had on that roster. Again, I think this is a team that's just kind of struggling to find an identity early in the Big Ten. Not to say that can't be changed, but they promoted Jimmy Daughtry to their offensive coordinator and had a total of 26 players from 2024 that decided to head on out. So key additions, like you mentioned, Takaro Davis was a all Big Ten corner. Is going to be an all Big Ten corner caliber cornerback. Came from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the linebacker group that you mentioned, Jacob Manu.
I was going to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, Jacob Manu coming from Arizona, Xri Alexander, and then a Tariq Al-Ukda from Washington State. So they're definitely, I think, really trying to get back to their aggressive ways on defense. Also, a couple of defensive lineman additions, Carver Willis from Kansas State, Samote Pepa from Utah, who I thought was an excellent player. Offense, like I said, Desmond Williams Jr., we'll see what he has to offer. 944 passing yards and rushing upside from kind of the Sun Bowl that he had last year. So middle of the road team for me, going 6-7 like they did last year. I think they are kind of a middle of the road Big Ten team for now. They haven't done anything overly impressive this offseason that makes me think they're going to get back to their playoff days. But interested to see what they do, especially that defensive group. Don't think about, I guess, Washington on defense too often, but it clearly seems like that's what they were targeting in their transfer portal era days.
Yeah, so Washington, they've had solid defenses. I remember when they made the playoffs and got smoked by Alabama, but it was Alabama. But they had solid defense there.
Vita Vea.
Yeah. What was Vita Vea and Shaq Thompson all on one defense that year?
Yeah,
and then 2 years ago, they had a pretty good defense with Jabbar Muhammad at cornerback. It's just they played Michigan, and Michigan was just hot. They couldn't stop the run. That was Washington's issue. They couldn't stop the run. But I know I was going to talk about Jacob Manu. If you look at Jacob Manu's stats last year, you're like, why are we talking about Jacob Manu? He had 47 total tackles, 19 solos, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. But you got to look at the 2023 season. He had an amazing 2023 year under Coach Jed Fish, and now he's reunited with Coach Jed Fish at Washington. So excited to see how he does there. Amari Evans at receiver, your guy from Penn State, who had 5 touchdowns and 415 yards. He adds a different dimension at receiver there. And CJ Christian, I wanted to talk about him at safety. FIU guy, transfer, had 80 total tackles, 40 solos, 3 pass breakups, a pick, fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. And also, I know you talk about Damon Williams at quarterback. He's a gadget guy throughout sometimes at Washington. They would bring him in for certain formations. I know he took over for the Sun Bowl, like you said. But I wanted to talk about Kyle Horton, possibly being a quarterback battle with there. Kyle Horton is a older guy, came from Tulane, 44-82, 53.7% completion percentage, 604 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in a small sample size last season. So interesting to see how that quarterback battle goes. I do think Damon Williams wins it just because of familiarity and everything like that. And they do like the kid. But just wanted to throw in that little wrinkle. They had the 61st total offense, 28th total defense, 32nd passing, 100th in rushing, 104th in scoring offense, 2nd in passing defense, 87th in rushing defense. I wrote passing by accident. And tied 53rd in scoring defense, So pretty solid defensively there. I just remember games like Iowa where they couldn't stop the run. Iowa killed them on the ground on the way to 40-some points. But if you're ready, we could talk about the schedule for Washington.
Let's get it.
All right, just gotta get my mouse going. He said Joe said shout out to the Bucks. I don't know why.
Because he said Vita Vea.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Washington, the preview not showing up. I don't know why that stopped showing. Colorado State, first game of the season. I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Hope this don't ruin my timestamps for you, Joe. You at UC Davis, a win.
Also got a win, yep.
But UC Davis be having some talent come out of there now. Teddy Buchanan. We got another guy in the ACC. I can't remember his name right now, but they be having some talent. Washington State, the Apple Cup. It's at Washington State, but Mateer's gone. They lost Jake Dickert. He's currently at Wake Forest. I got Washington winning the Apple Cup.
I got Washington winning the Apple Cup as well.
Then first Big Ten game against Ohio State at home. L.
Yep, loss for me too.
Then at Maryland, I have as a loss for Washington.
I also had that as a loss.
At home against Rutgers, I have as a win.
I have as a loss.
On the road,
I'm sorry. I have a win against Rutgers. My bad.
Okay, cool. On the road at Michigan, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At home against Illinois, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At Wisconsin, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At home against Purdue, I have as a win.
I got as a win too.
On the road at UCLA, I have as a loss.
I have a win.
And at home against Oregon, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
So I have them at 5-7, 2-7. You have them at 6-6, 3-6. Because the only game we disagree is UCLA. I have as a loss.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I only got 2 wins in the Big Ten though. UCLA and Purdue. I had Rutgers. I had them losing to Rutgers. Yeah.
Okay. No. So no, I think we both 5-7, 2-7. I have them beating Rutgers.
Yep. So Purdue, Purdue and UCLA are my 2 Big Ten wins for them.
And my 2 Big Ten wins are Rutgers and Purdue.
Yep.
So both having 5-7, 2-7, taking the under 7.5 win total for Washington. And last but not least, Wisconsin, which I almost want you to go first for, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Coming off a 5-7, 3-6 year, Tyler Van Dyke went down with an injury. In steps Braden Locke yet again. Returned 9 starters, 4 on offense, 5 on defense. Returned Vinny Anthony, their leading receiver, 39 catches, 672 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Preston Zachman, 58 total tackles, 39 solos, 4 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions at safety. Ricardo Hallman at cornerback, 16 total tackles, 15 solos, and 4 pass breakups. Austin Brown, safety, 51 total tackles, 30 solos, a sack, 3 pass breakups, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. And Daryl Peterson, a linebacker, 28 total tackles, 13 solos, a sack, and a pass breakup. I guess they lost Braden Locke. He's currently at University of Arizona, which is interesting. I'm doing the Big 12 on Thursday, so that'll be one of the first things I talk about. 164, 296, a 55.4 completion percentage, 1,936 yards, and 13 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Tawee Walker, who went to Cincinnati, 190 carries, 864 yards, 4.5 a carry, 10 touchdowns, explosive back for Wisconsin. Will Paulin, second leading receiver, I believe, 42 total catches, 407 yards, and 3 touchdowns, currently at Notre Dame. And Hunter Wooler, safety, currently on the Colts, 71 total tackles, 51 solos, 6 pass breakups. Xavier Lucas, currently on the U, Miami, 18 total tackles, 12 solos, a sack, 2 pass breakups, and a pick. And Jake Chaney, who's possibly going to be a head coach for the University of Wisconsin as he tries to fight his way into the NFL. 55 total tackles, 25 solos, a sack, and a forced fumble. Ooh, I forgot to change this to Wisconsin. Oh, man, Joe, this is going to mess up my timestamps. I'm so sorry. They had the 26th overall recruiting class, 14th in transfers. Talk to me about Wisconsin, Trent. Let's go.
Well, hey, I mean, I'm not going to go over the top here, but I will say I'm interested. I've always been interested in Luke Fickell and what he's been trying to do at Wisconsin. Bringing in Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator. I think they're going to shift back towards more of a power run game. Mike Tressel returns as a defensive coordinator. They're going to have a little bit of a makeover on offense with the Maryland transfer, Billy Edwards Jr. coming in. Running backs Dylan Jones and Darian Dupree are returnees, and they're guys who have been in the system. They're bringing in Jaden Ballard, who's an Ohio State transfer, to pair with the Vinny Anthony II, who was already a great wide receiver threat for them. So really the topic of discussion here is the offense. I think last year they were plagued by turnovers, and that's just something that they have to clean up, obviously, if they want to win football games. But I'm really interested to see what Grimes does as the new offense coordinator here, and I'm interested in Billy Edwards Jr. coming in and giving them kind of the lift that they need. They got some big front seven reinforcements. JVR Suggs from LSU coming in, Mason Reiger coming in from Louisville, and Tyrese Fairby coming in from Kentucky. Same thing on the offensive line. Got some Georgia transfers in there, Michael Garner. So it's another team that is very, very heavy in the transfer portal. Like I said, that revamped offense and the upgrades on defense, I think they're a healthy mix of having the stability in the program and the transfer portal players coming in to make them sneak into a bowl eligible team. I think Luke Fickell had turned a great program there at Cincinnati, and I'm looking for him to do the same thing in kind of what might be a make or break year for him in 2026.
So transfer-wise, I did write down Javier Suggs out of LSU, and I did write down Mason Rager. I also got down Corey Walker from Western Michigan, who had 5.5 sacks, looking to add on that edge as well. But you talked about the turnover battle, and then we bring up Billy Edwards Jr., who had 9 interceptions to 15 touchdowns. And I feel like if you make him throw the ball in the Big Ten where defenses are good, he could be a problem at turning the rock over. I do agree. I think Wisconsin goes back to running the ball heavy, but that brings in a predictability factor at Wisconsin as well offensively, where they're going to run the ball. And I don't know if they're built like in Iowa, like Rutgers was, where they're running and you have to stop it, because I don't think they have a Cal Monunga, a Caleb Johnson. So their two best backs are gone. Tyree Walker and Ches Malusi. Ches Malusi ran out of eligibility. Tyree Walker went to Cincinnati. I know you said they got guys that has familiarity with the program and everything, but are those guys those type of guys where you can lean on and they can run for over 1,000 yards like a Nick Singleton, like a Darius Taylor, guys that can carry the load offensively as a running back? That is the remain to be seen. And that's my biggest question mark outside of Billy Edwards and these turnovers that he brings to the University of Wisconsin. Defensively, I think Wisconsin is always going to be solid to above average for sure. But offensively is where I have my questions with Wisconsin. The passing game, receivers, like you said, I like Vinny Anthony. But Jaden Ballard, he's unproven from Ohio State. Yes, he's an Ohio State guy, so you think he has a lot of talent. But people, you could agree, probably thought the same about Julian Fleming coming to Penn State. So he's still unproven. It's remained to be seen. So offensively, I just think there's a lot of question marks with Wisconsin. But if you're ready, we can get into the schedule.
Yeah, let's get it.
First game of the season at Miami against Miami of Ohio at home. Sorry, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Middle Tennessee State, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Shout out and respect for having a home-to-home against Alabama, but I think you lose.
I got Wisconsin winning here.
You're trolling. I knew you were trolling. All right. Maryland, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Michigan, I have as a loss.
I have as a win.
Trolling. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So you got them 4-1 right now?
I got them 5-0 right now.
Wait, you were so serious about them beating Bama?
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, this is my time to look at you crazy. I'm enjoying this for a second. Iowa, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Ohio State, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At Oregon, I have as a loss.
I also have as a loss.
At home against Washington, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
At Indiana, I have as a loss.
I have as a win.
Yeah. Illinois, I have as a loss. I think you have this as a win too.
Yeah, I have this as a win. Yep.
And at Minnesota, I have as a loss.
and I have this as a loss.
I have them 5-7, 3-6. You got them 8-4.
8-4, 7, or no, I have them 8-3. I got them losing to Oregon, Washington, and Minnesota. I got them
9-3,
9-3,
6-3.
9-3, 6-3. Yep.
This might be crazier than my 11-1, 8-1 because you got them being Bama. That is. I need you to explain how and why they're going to be Bama on the road.
Well, I think, like you said, respect to them for scheduling it. They're not going to schedule it if they're afraid of them. So I think, like I said, Luke Fickell has a plan, and I think my belief in Luke Fickell is a little bit like your belief in Matt Rule. I like what he does as a coach, and I think Alabama's, they're still the Alabamas, but at the end of the day, it's not a Nick Saban Alabama. It's a SEC that I believe is transitioning from the Alabamas of the world to maybe the Georgias, and Georgia's obviously always there, but you have Texas in there now, and you have Oklahoma in there now. It wouldn't shock me if Alabama, is a fourth or fifth place team in the SEC this year.
That's cool. I think Alabama as a 4th, 5th SEC team is still spanking Wisconsin. I know they got question mark at quarterback. I will talk about that in my SEC show because Todd Simpson, unproven guy. Running back Jan Miller, I think is fine. Receiver core is pretty. I think the receiver core is actually really good, but
I think Billy Edwards Jr. is, the interceptions are certainly there. And to your point about being one-dimensional in the run game, I think he is, he's mobile enough to where he opens up that to where you have to respect. You can't just dial in on the run.
But against Bama, though, I'm not saying he's not mobile. I don't think he's mobile enough against Bama.
I hear you.
But hey, respect. I love a hot take. So respect. So
that's our Big Ten pod we got a little Wisconsin Nebraska thing going here.
Respect. I love it. I'm all for it. And if, like you said, it's one of those things where if you're right, you can clip it up. I told you so. But if not, it's clipped up. People won't say it. So I respect it.
Here's the thing, though, too. Even if they, hypothetically they do lose to Alabama, you're still talking about a 2-loss Big Ten team and a 3-loss or a 4-loss overall. So I think there's some room to lose and win in there, like this whole show. But at the end of the day, I still am expecting Wisconsin to. I think their floor is really like an 8-win season, 9-win season this year.
Oh, we are so on the opposite end of the spectrum with the floor. My floor is not even making a bowl game. Now, I have some games where Wisconsin could win to make them bowl eligible, i.e., they could beat Minnesota. Yeah. They could beat.
I'm still giving them 3 losses in the Big Ten. So really, it's really just the Bama teams. Yeah, no. But so Illinois and they'll be good games.
Yeah, they will be. See, I think the Illinois game is at Illinois. That's why I gave it. Yeah, see, Illinois is. Oh no, it's at home. So actually, that is a game that could flip because at home that's a good game. Indiana, I'm not flipping because it's at Indiana. It's in Bloomington. Iowa, I could flip. Oh, I gave them a win there, so I'm not flipping that one. No, yeah, my flips are Illinois and possibly Minnesota. But we can get into our Big Ten standings as we. Oh wait, hold on. Before that, we hit the Big Ten wrap up. So I do want to hear a brief synopsis from Rutgers and UCLA from you. Those are the 2 teams you missed, and give me a record. Or you can do this: give me a record, explain the record, and who you have them winning against.
So Rutgers is going to be pretty easy. I have them going 0-9 in Big Ten play.
I'm not alone. I didn't go 0-9, but I went 1-8, and I thought Rutgers fans are going to kill me. Joe, I don't know if you could clip this and put it in my Rutgers segment, but I got them going 1-8. The only win I have for Rutgers, I think, is Purdue.
Yeah. I have them starting the season 3-0 against Ohio Western, Miami, Ohio, and Norfolk State, and then 0-9 in Big Ten play. I'm a big Greg Schiano guy. I think last year was an amazing year, but I'm just not not sold on
Anthony
They're-
Kelly Agmanis.
Kelly Monis at all.
I spent my whole segment talking about how Kelly Agmanis, without Cal Monangai, has too much to bear on his shoulders.
Yeah, and they lost Hollis Pierce too, who was a great NFL drafted left tackle. So they're losing essentially their two best players on offense from last season. They are getting CJ Campbell from FIU, who I thought was a pretty good running back.
Yeah, for sure.
But just way too many questions on defense. And with their schedule, it's just not favorable. They have their defensive coordinator who left for John Harris Miak. He's the new head coach at UMass. So they just have a lot of turnover. They were 4-5 in Big Ten play last year, and I think kind of not overperformed, but like you said, to have Mungai in the backfield was a huge help. So I think they're just getting worse, and unfortunately, someone's got to be bad.
Thank you. All right, cool. Ruggers fans, I'm not alone. All right, UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. I'm gonna have to pull up their schedule here, but I think last year they were a 5-7 team, another team that went 3-6 in the conference. First year coach. They had a brutal start. They also had a tough schedule last year, but the enemy's gone. I just don't think they have the coaching staff that propels them into any situation that's better this year. So I would put them back in the middle of the road as well in the Big Ten. I'm trying to pull up their schedule here real quick. My fault.
I'll say that I kind of went on a mini tangent how I'm out on Nico Iamaleava. I had him going 3-9, 1-8.
3-9, 1-8.
Because I'm not a fan of Nico Iamaleava at all. And you can tell me I'm wrong, but I said that he held Tennessee back last season.
I mean, it's a fair statement. It's a fair statement.
I just felt like his decision making wasn't that great, and it's crazy when the running back wins Offensive Player of the Year in a conference, and that quarterback does not. So, Dylan Sampson was Arkansas.
Yeah, so here we go. So UCLA, they got why my computer being like this?
By the way, Joe, you don't have to clip that record segment and put it in the record segment. They can listen to it in the Big Ten wrap up. But it was just good to know. So I can refer Rutgers fans to this part and be like, hey, bro, I'm not the only one.
My computer's trolling again, but I know they got Utah to start this.
I got you. I can read it off.
Here we go. I got you. Oh. So I got them losing week 1 against Utah.
I actually have that as a win.
Okay, so I got them losing week 1 against Utah, win against UNLV.
I have that as a loss.
Win against New Mexico.
Okay.
Win against Northwestern.
Lost to me.
Lost to Penn State. Lost to Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
I have them losing to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Losing to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Losing to Nebraska. Losing to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Beating Washington. Mm-hmm. Losing to USC.
We have the same exact Big Ten other than Northwestern.
Other than Northwestern. And then we got Utah at the beginning, right? Or UNLV, I'm sorry, week 2.
No, we disagree on Utah and UNLV.
Oh,
but it's just flipped.
I got you.
So you got to win in 2 games in the Big Ten. I got to win in 1. And then you have them winning 2 non-conference, which I do too. But, yeah. So you got them going 4-8, 2-7. I got them going 3-9, 1-8, which is pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my standings for the Big Ten looks as this. Penn State, number 1 in the Big Ten at 12-0, 9-0. Number 2, Ohio State. And now normally I go in alphabetical order, and I had a 3-way tie, but bruh, I'm putting Ohio State in this national championship game. I'm high on Nebraska, but there's no way I'm putting Nebraska in this Big Ten championship game over Ohio State. So I rigged this one. I'm not gonna lie. Ohio State at 10-2, 8-1 is number 2. Nebraska at 11-1, 8-1 is 3. Oregon at 11-1, 8-1 is 4. Indiana is 10-2, 7-2 at 5 by holding the tiebreaker, beating them head-to-head against Illinois. Illinois is 6 at 10-2, 7-2. Michigan State is 7 at 8-4, 6-3, holding the tiebreaker by beating Michigan. It was also 8-4, 6-3. Minnesota is 8-4, 5-4 at 9. 10 is Maryland, 6-6, 3-6. 11 is Iowa at 5-7, 3-6. 12 is USC at 5-7, 3-6. Wisconsin is 13 at 5-7, 3-6. Northwestern is 14th at 4-8, 2-7. Washington is 15th at 5-7, 2-7. Rutgers is 16th at 4-8, 1-8. UCLA is 3-9, 1-9 at 17, and Purdue holds the rear at 2-10, 0-9. Do you have a standing for me, Trent?
So I didn't write it out like you did. My apologies. But what else I can do? So my top four. My
I was about to
season,
say Ace and Dave. I think did the top 5. If you want to do
yeah.
that.
So my top four. I got Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Illinois, and my the bottom 4. I got Rutgers, Northwestern, UCLA, and Northwestern.
Wait, I think you said Northwestern.
Or I'm sorry. I got Rutgers, Northwestern, UCLA, and Purdue. My fault.
Yep. So my Big Ten title game is Penn State versus Ohio State. And
Same.
hold on, I got you. I'm not gonna find it, am I? No. My winner is here we go.
Yeah, drum roll.
Penn State wins the Big Ten.
Let's go, Carl. We are.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I gave you your chance to do it. You ain't even do it. At the top of your segment, I said it. I said we are, but I don't think you heard me.
Oh, my fault.
That's good though. So now Ty
That's
can
a
me.
perfect season. That's a perfect season for you.
Yeah, 13-0 heading into the
Big
college
plays.
football playoffs. Well, I don't know if y'all gonna be a number 1 overall seed because SEC, but 13-0 winning the Big Ten. I'm pretty sure you got Penn State winning the Big Ten title game against Ohio State too. I didn't even have to ask you.
Yeah, I got Penn State beating Ohio State. The more I think about it, I know we just did the whole schedule prediction, but it is going to be tough to go 2-0 against Ohio State. So if we have to give up that loss in the regular season, I'll take it to beat them in the Big Ten championship.
I mean, that is true, but if it's a team I think that could do it, I do think it's y'all. Do you have an offensive player of the year?
You're not going to like it.
Try me.
Drew Allen.
Same team, different player. Nick Singleton.
Okay.
That's my offensive player.
I will say this though. I think Jeremiah Smith is clearly clearly a front runner as well. So my defensive player of the year is Penn State. So let me give Jeremiah Smith the offensive player of the year.
Who's your defensive player of the year? Because I have 2. I have one I think is going to win, and I think I have a real one.
I have so let's do this. My pipe dream offensive player of the year is Drew Aller. My prediction is Jeremiah Smith. And on defense, while I believe Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in the country, I'm going to give my vote to linebacker from Penn State, Tony Rojas.
So mine is Danny Dennis Sutton, edge rusher. That's my defensive player of the year. Now, my real defensive player of the year, if it wasn't for how hard it is for non-pass rushers to win, is Dylan Thiemann of Oregon. I think he's about to I think he's about to really turn some heads this year. But yeah, that's my defensive player of the year. If we lived in a perfect world. But thank you, Trent, for coming on for this Big Ten. I did tell you it wasn't gonna be 3 hours. It actually ended up being 3 hours, but we had technical difficulties. I did the bathroom. So it was a mixture of things, but I do appreciate you coming on. At R2L, we give our guests final words. Any final words before we sign up?
No, man, just once again, appreciate you having me on. Sorry for the difficulties there in the middle, but looking forward to a great football season, college and NFL. Always a pleasure coming on Refuse to Lose. Make sure you go check out the network and the shows that everyone has to offer. Carl, I'm wishing you the best for your Sparties, man. I'll be rooting for you, and I appreciate all the love you gave Penn State today.
Yeah, man. One thing I pride myself on is not being biased on my show, but Joe actually has a question that I just seen in the comments. He said, I want to ask y'all a question before y'all get off. How do you feel about what Calipari said about students should only be allowed to enter transfer the portal once? So that was originally how it was. You get one free pass in the transfer portal. And I'm honestly not mad at that, to be completely honest. Now, I would tend to say I agree. I would say that if you left and you carved a niche and you like clearly got playing time and you did well. Now, if you're a guy who they lied to you, they sold you a fake dream, and then they like don't play you and you're like riding on the bench, I would have be like, all right, you get one more try. But like overall, in theory, I do kind of agree with Calipari. But it's like I want to agree with that, but then I try to look at the other side of it and be like, coaches do look for your replacement like every year. They look if they can upgrade at your position every year. So it's like a double-edged sword. But in theory, I would kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's realistically, it's a whole nother probably podcast episode about NIL and the whole transfer thing. I would say I'm kind of in the same boat as Carl because it's, there's so many there's such a negative connotation towards players transferring and leaving and going to get what I think would be their best opportunity to play, especially when you have coaches that recruited you and promised you and sold you a dream and then, dipped out before you even played your bowl game because they got a better job offer. So I think we need to hold the coaches accountable as much as we hold the players accountable. As far as should you be able to transfer once, I think that's fair. And to Carl's point, if you're not getting the playing time you wanted, or you think there's a better opportunity for you somewhere else, I think you have every right to go explore that. I think the transfer window, though, itself needs worked on, just in the fact that you have players looking for new homes while football is still being played. Example 1A would be, Bo Pribula, the backup from Penn State this year, having to essentially transfer in the middle of the season just because of that transfer window and the uncertainty of, is he going to play quarterback next year? So I think it's a hard yes or no question to answer that it's right for everyone. But I think as long as the player is benefiting from the scenario in the sense of he's getting an opportunity to pursue his dreams, his or her dreams. I know we're just talking about football here, but then I think it's an okay thing. Like,
yeah, that's why I said it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it's like, all right, you want to give the players an opportunity, because some of these guys won't go to the professional level. So you want to give them every opportunity in the world to play the game they love before they have to give up. Or you not give up, but you get what I'm saying, before it's over. But on the other hand, you got people just like, all right, I had my fun here. Where's the next highest bidder? And you kind of don't want that in college sports. I want these kids to get paid. I do. But I do kind of feel where people are coming from, where people just say they have great years and now they leaving like it's pro sports. Like they're just basically signing 1-year contracts. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, and that's what I was getting at, and I'm glad you said it, coaches do the same thing as well. You have coaches leaving in the middle of, they don't even coach the bowl game. They leaving right before the bowl game so they can work on their team that they just signed a new contract for. Or they won't finish out a contract. Somebody else give them something bigger, or they've been bought out or things like that, and they're on to their other team. And they recruited you here, and I'm glad they give people 30-day windows when coaches do that to decide, to talk to the new coach, decide whether I'm going to be here, are you going to play me, should I leave, etc., things like that. But, yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so shout out to Joe for the question. He said, shout out to Trent, always prepared and very knowledgeable on sports. Shout out to you. Exactly. I'm going to pull y'all behind the curtain. So Trent hit me yesterday. Carl, I forgot I had a birthday dinner at 6. I don't know if I can do the show, man. I said, bro, no problem. We can do 8 or 9. Hit me back like, bro, I'm not trying to hold you up. Just go ahead, dude. I said, bro, we can move this joint to tomorrow, bro. I asked you to be on the show. I'm trying to have you on here. So we moved it to today. I got him on here. Had fun. 3 hours flew by. So I'm so glad we got this together. This is Trent's second time actually being on the Big Ten preview. He was on my first ever Big Ten preview, where it was me, Ty, Coach, and Trent. So shout out to him. Joe says, shout out to Kaji. Okay, this is rubbing in the womb. Shout out to Kaji Kansi.
Go to bed, Joe.
85 town that 4th down run. That's crazy.
Joe, go to bed.
He couldn't just give you a compliment. He had to backhand you. That's crazy.
Yeah, he had to set me up.
Yep, and good point, Trent. Hold the coaches accountable like we do the players. Exactly. I'm all for that as well. Jay Billis is all for that as well, too, Joe. But okay. Trent got his final words. My final word, like I said, man, I pride myself on not being biased on the pod. So, although Ty gets on my nerves with this Penn State stuff, I do have them winning the Big Ten championship. It don't even really hurt. Like, I know we kind of were once rivals, but that rivalry kind of died down. Like I said, that's like a back in my day thing. I'm kind of like Ohio State too. Like, bro, I don't even talk trash to Ohio State no more, bro. Like, y'all been spanking us. Like, it is what it is. That's another back in my day situation. So, but Michigan, never. We just beat y'all not too long ago, and Kenneth Walker had 5 touchdowns. So I ain't tripping off y'all. I hope my Spartans can give me a bowl game. I got us winning 8. Honestly, 8 wins is like my ceiling for real. My floor better be 6 wins in a bowl game. That's like my floor. But Jonathan Smith, get it done. Get these players ready. Aiden Childs, I need the mental mistakes to be cut. I need the silly mistakes to be over. You got your 1 year fun. It's over. I'm excited to see what my boys do this year. I'm excited to see how college football looks. We got 2 more conferences to preview. The Big 12 should be here Thursday. The SEC, Dave, I think, wants to be a part of that. I'll double check with him. Is either Saturday or Sunday. We do have R2L Day this Saturday at Summerfield Park. I'm excited for that. Trent, are you coming to R2L Day this Saturday?
I'm going to be in Philly this weekend, unfortunately.
Well, but we do have our 12 day, so come out, support the Refuse to Lose Network. Again, man, we got great shows, great talent. I think the next show up might be mine again, or maybe it might be – no, it's going to be R2L, I think, Wednesday, and Unfazed on Wednesday, then mine on Thursday. But that's all we got for y'all today, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and until next time, we're gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.